A very good evening to all my dear students. So welcome to today's session for chapter number 10, that is the company audit for auditing and assurance subject. So I hope students that you are actually studying this chapter number 10, and you have actually studied it before coming for the session. So I can see that Kiran, Sudhanshu, Shivangini, Navneetan, Rajiv, Darshan, Bhumika, Logasundar, these students have already joined. Others also please quickly join. And so please, before starting the session, I would like all of you to reply as to whether you have gone through the module till page number this 10.36. Quickly send in your replies. So this is the second last session for chapter number 10, and in fact my second last session with you for this batch. So send in your replies whether you have gone through the module or not. And in case of any query, please send in your queries. Bhumika is saying yes. And students, again, today you will have the opportunity to interact with CA Rajesh Sachdeva sir after the break. So for all those students, I suppose Bhumika, you had a doubt, like you asked sir with respect to how to study the case scenarios, how to answer to case study questions. So others also, if you have any query you want to ask sir, you can always send in your query after the break. We will have a good interaction with him. So Himanshu is saying, yes, ma'am, gone through the module just before coming for the session, which is absolutely correct. Good. And Rajiv is saying, yes, ma'am, read the module. Others are also saying, yes, Manisha, Navneetan, Darshan, Kiran. So that's good. So in the last session, and in fact, in the session so far for this chapter, we have done section 141 relating to eligibility, qualification, and disqualification of auditor. Section 139 relating to appointment of auditor. Then section 140 relating to removal, resignation, and giving of special notice. Here we have also done section 142 relating to remuneration of auditor, which I have given to you as a homework also to read, right? Okay. Then we did section 144, whereby we had certain services which are prohibited. That is, an auditor cannot render such services to the client organization, right? Or if he's already rendering, he cannot become the auditor of that company, right? Then section 146 also with respect to the right and duty to attend the general meeting. I hope all of you remember all these. Today we'll be completing section 143, and major part of this was already covered in the last session. So section 143 is with respect to powers and duties of auditor and auditing standards. So 139, 140, 141, 142, 143 will be finished today, and here section 145 will also be covered when we'll be completing this section 143. Okay. So in the last session, we have done the various powers or rights of the auditor. There are 5 rights which we have discussed in the last sessions. That were, just a minute, right to access to books of the company, books, etc. So books includes accounts, vouchers, right to obtain information and explanation from officers, and we have seen the definition of term officers, right, as per clause 59 section 2. Right to receive notices and to attend general meeting contained in section 146. So this is a right as well as duty. Right to report to the members, and right to lien, which is what a general right. Okay. Then we were discussing duties, whereby we started with discussing the duty of the auditor to inquire on 6 matters. I hope inquire and shall state is clear to you now, right? So just a minute, there is one doubt on, let me just have a look. On page number, ठीक है. So Himanshu has a doubt with respect to this point. Acha, we have done 143 subsection 3 clause G also in detail. There is a doubt on page number 10.30, point number 1, clause point B. So the number of partners of the firm on the date of acceptance of each assignment shall be taken into account. So Himanshu, if you remember when we discussed about this topic, section 143, subsection 3, clause G, about the ceiling on the number of audits. So we have seen that whether an auditor or the partner of the firm, whether or the firm, Hana. So the number of audits that are being held by the auditor or the partner of the firm, that is to be seen on the date of such appointment, right? So what is the doubt? And see what is the thumb rule. I'll quickly brief section 141 subsection 3 clause E. पहले तो क्या है? That maximum number of audit an individual can take is 20, and that is to be seen on the date of appointment. And in those 20 companies, there is certain exceptions which we have done very well in detail. Okay? Apart from that, if there are three partners in a firm, then the total number of audit that can be taken on behalf of these three partners is what? 60. That is 20 into 3, right? Apart from that, if a person like CA, he is, let's say, a partner in 3 firms, then on his account, a total of 20 audit assignments can only be taken. Like 20 in firm A, 20 in firm B, 20 in firm C is not possible, right? Just try to understand the intention behind the legislation, like behind the law. So 20 on account of that partner, and all these limits are to be seen on the date of accepting the appointment. Okay? So I think Himanshu is asking about this, the number of such assignments, whether he, that is the auditor or any partner of his firm, has accepted, whether singly or in combination with any other chartered accountant in practice. So as a proprietor or in the capacity as a partner or firm of such chartered accountants, such shall be taken into account. तो जो भी आपने work of a company लिया है, statutory audit लिया है, as yours, like if on account of CAA, whether he's there as a partner or a proprietor, right? So on his account, 20 is the number. ठीक है, Darshan, Himanshu, is it clear? Is it clear? And Darshan, with respect to your doubts, that is the duty to inquire on loans and just let me just take you through this. So Darshan has a doubt with respect to this duty of auditor wala point to inquire. So we will discuss that. Himanshu, meanwhile, tell me whether your doubt is clear or not. Okay. So the auditor needs, it is the duty of the auditor to inquire on certain matters. And what are those matters? 6 matters. So first of all, if any loan and advance has been given on the basis of the security, whether that is properly secured, and it should not be prejudicial to the interest of the company. That is, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए interest free loan दे दिया या at a very low interest rate. Transactions shown merely by book entries, right? So the like adjustment entry should not be there. ठीक है? ठीक है? Then if a company is what? Other than investment banking company, if so much of the assets as are shown by what? Investment shares, debentures, if they are sold at a price which is less than the cost price, then that is to be mentioned. If any loans and advances made by the company has shown as deposits. See, if any loan and advance, if you are going to give any loan and advance to a company, you will be charging what? Made by the company to any party, you will be charging what? Interest. There will be what? Repayments, right? But if you show it as a deposit, that you have given it to that party as a deposit, there will be no repayment as such. Terms and conditions will be different. So this should not happen. Okay, Darshan, is it clear? Darshan, quickly send in your replies. Is it clear? Then the next point is whether personal expenses have been charged to revenue. And the last point is that whether any shares have been allotted for cash. If yes, then whether cash has been active, and if no, then the position that is reflected in books of accounts and balance sheet should be correct, regular, and not misleading. And on all these 6 points, the auditor need not report as such if he has nothing, no special comments. If he has any special comments or adverse remarks, then only the reporting is required. Okay, Darshan, is it clear? Aisha, with respect to your doubt, Aisha is saying, ma'am, if a firm has 6 partners, what would be the limit for the firm as a whole? So 6 into 20, like 20 audit on account of each partner. So अभी I am assuming कि आपको वो पता है कि 20 में क्या count होगा. So it will be 120. Himanshu is writing. Aisha, is it clear? You also send in your reply. So Himanshu, it will be if A and B are partners in a firm, or of individual A where he becomes the engagement partner, उसके account पे total 20 है, B के account पे total 20 है, ठीक है? Is it clear, Himanshu? Aisha, you also reply. So Aisha, Darshan are saying it is clear. Himanshu, you also reply. Okay. So this was with respect to duty of the auditor to inquire on 6 matters, duty of the auditor to report. So section 143 subsection 2 में हमने पढ़ा. Further, we studied what? Section 143 subsection 3, whereby we saw that auditor shall also state. So there are total 10 points. In the last session, we have discussed 8 points. So let us just quickly see. So I'll do one thing. Let me just I'll show you a practical audit report later on. So it basically says, so basically the auditor is telling the shareholders or whosoever is going to read the audited financial statement and the auditor's report that with respect to so and so company, we have sought all the information, we have obtained all the information. And if not, then the details. So मिली है information तो भी बताना है, नहीं मिली तो भी बताना है. So why? Because it is mentioned shall state. Further, whether in the opinion of the auditor, the books of accounts are kept as is of the company, as required have been kept by the company, and proper returns from the branches have been received, right? Aisha, I told you in the last session also, tax audit की separate limit 60 है, इसकी separate limit है, ठीक है? ठीक है? So the third point says whether the report on account of any branch office have been received and how the auditor has dealt with it in his final audit report, in his company's report. Further, profit and loss account and balance sheet should be in agreement with books of accounts, whether the same is like that or not, and whether the financial statement comply with the accounting standards. Then the observations and comments of the auditor, if any, with respect to financial transactions or matters. Hana, transactions, I gave you example of what purchases and sales. If whether purchases and sales, example, are made at a price prejudicial to the interest of the company. Purchases are made at a very high rate. Sales are made at very low rate. Why? And matters. For example, if there is material uncertainty, right? So which is going to have an adverse effect on the functioning of the company. Whether any director is disqualified for being appointed as the director under subsection 2 of section 164, and any qualification, reservation or adverse remark relating to the maintenance of accounts and other matters concerned. Like, see, the books of accounts are required to maintain in terms of section 180, 128 and 129. So whether that have been done or not. So here, adverse, the observation and comments are with respect to what? The transactions, financial transaction matters that are going to have adverse effect on the function of the company. And here is what? With respect to maintenance of accounts. So these were the 8 points that we have discussed in the last session. Okay? So there is one more doubt. After that, I'll proceed with the fresh topic today. To Bhumika, where we have mentioned in the inquire wala topic that whether personal expenses has been charged to revenue, तो ऐसा तो नहीं है कि MD का कोई let's say laptop खरीदना था, that has been shown as what, or let's say any major repairs were required to be done to the laptop, ठीक है? Or let's say MD के लिए laptop ही खरीदना था, and whether that has been charged to the revenue, ठीक है, though this is what one of the personal expenses of any of the directors. ठीक है भूमिका. So intention क्या होगा ये फिर the company has the wrong intentions there na, they want to show the personal expenses, they want to charge it to the P&L. Yeah, so Bhumika, is it clear? So I hope everyone your doubts are clear, whatever you have forwarded to me. Okay. Now with respect to the 9th point, so section 143 subsection 3 says that the auditor shall also state. So quickly tell me, where have you done this point number I, that is with respect to internal financial control, reporting requirement on adequate internal financial control. Quickly tell me the chapter number. Quickly send in your replies. So see students, in your chapter number 4, you have seen the requirement with respect to the company having what? Adequate internal financial control, right? So this I points, this says that the auditor shall also state whether the company has adequate internal financial control in place and about the operating effectiveness of such control. However, there is certain exception, that is with respect to the following companies, no such reporting is required. So what are those companies? So see, it's mentioned that it may be noted that the reporting requirement on adequacy of internal financial control with respect to financial statement shall not be applicable to a private company, which is first of all to a private company, which is a one-person company, small company, or a company having a turnover of less than 50 CR as per the latest audited financial statement. And so this is what this is connected by and having, so it is saying turnover of less than 50 CR and aggregate of borrowings from banks, financial institution, or any other body corporate at any point of time during the financial year less than 25 CR. So both the conditions should be satisfied. You must be aware na, that if any exemption is to be given, then the thumb rule, like, generally what is the rule, that all the conditions need to be satisfied, है ना, और applicability होता है तो और से connected होता है कि अगर इसमें से कुछ भी है तो it will become applicable. ठीक है. So is it clear? So we will not go in detail in this point because you have done this in detail in your chapter number 4, and none of you have answered that you have done this in chapter number 4. Why? So quickly send in your replies. इंटरनल फाइनेंशियल कंट्रोल चैप्टर नंबर 4 में आप लोगों ने किया है ना या नहीं किया? क्विकली सेंड इन योर रिप्लाईज. So this was, so Bhumika is saying yes ma'am, तो फिर पहले क्यों नहीं लिखा ये? ठीक है. So no such reporting requirement in case of a private company, which is what? A one-person company, small company, or a company having a turnover less than 50 CR as per the latest audited financial statement and having aggregate borrowings from bank, financial institution, or any other body corporate at any point of time during the financial year less than 25 CR. ठीक है. And the last point, J point, which says that such other matters as may be prescribed, and you all know wherever we have as may be prescribed, we go to rule. And here we'll be referring to rule number 11 of the company's auditor and audit and auditor rules 2014. Very, very important point. Okay. Now you will see that there are 5 points that are given that are required to be stated in terms of rule 11 of the company's audit and auditor rules 2014. So we will be doing all these points one by one. See. So अभी हम क्या कर रहे हैं कि auditor shall also state. Where is it given? Section 143 subsection 3. ठीक है. So this is the J point, and we are referring to rule 11 of the company's audit and auditor rules 2014. ठीक है. So the auditor's report shall also include the views and comments on the following matters, namely, first, see, if the company whether the company has disclosed the impact of any pending litigation on its financial position in its financial statement. So see, just consider now that though auditor is performing all the procedures that he is required to perform, SA 501 में भी litigations के completeness के लिए everything would have been done. But here there is a specific requirement that as per Rule 11 of the Companies Auditor and Auditor Rules 2014, the auditor has to specifically give his views and comments with respect to this particular point as to whether the company has disclosed the impact of any pending litigation. है ना? So यहाँ पर तो when the auditor is reporting, he is required to report. He'll definitely inquire the management ना कि management बताओ आपने क्या disclose किया है नहीं, or he'll definitely perform the other audit procedure. So what is this point? Whether the company has disclosed the impact, if any, of the pending litigation on the financial position. ठीक है, contingent liability show करना था, provisions बनाना था, जो भी करना था, whether the same has been done or not, right? Second point is also relating to provision, that is whether the company has made, so this is with respect to impact of what? Pending litigation. Okay. Then second point is whether the company has made the provision as required under the law of the accounting standard for material foreseeable losses. अगर कोई कंपनी को foreseeable is what? जो likely है, जो अभी आपको दिख रहा है as of now कि ऐसा loss in future हो सकता है. So whether the company has made such provision or not. For example, any long-term contracts or anything like that. So whether the company has made the provision or not. The third point says that whether there has been any delay in transferring the amounts required to be transferred to Investor Education and Protection Fund by the company. You will be studying about section 125 of the Companies Act when you will be doing your company law. So there the company is required to transfer the funds to the Investor Education and Protection Fund, whether there is any delay in that or not. Hana? So auditor is going to inquire the management, or he is going to perform the various audit procedures in order to confirm these matters, and then he'll give his view or comments in his auditor's report. And this is what, this is not the point as we did in duty to inquire. वहां तो क्या था, बस inquire करना है, कुछ special comments है तो mention करना है, but यहाँ तो क्या है कि mention करना ही करना है. So the first point is with respect to impact of pending litigation. Second is provisions with respect to material foreseeable losses, and third with respect to transferring the amount to the Investor Education and Protection Fund by the company. Delay तो नहीं है, ठीक है. Now fourth point. So one of you, Kiran, is saying, ma'am, we have done it after chapter 9, forgotten everything. So this should not happen. अब चलो अगर आप भूल गए हो तो chapter 9 का कुछ थोड़ा सा I told you कि in chapter number 10, chapter number 9 will come in bits and parcels again. So you are going to revise it. Okay? So quickly tell me, where have you done this fourth point? Quickly, I need answers. And Kiran, this should not happen. Other students also, this should not happen. आगे का पढ़ते जाओ, पीछे का पूछते जाओ, ऐसा नहीं है. पीछे का भी, like whatever chapters have already been covered, keep on revising them. है ना? Keep on going through the pages. So absolutely correct, Himanshu. We have seen the disclosure requirements with respect to in loans and borrowings, remember? So this is exactly the same. So there, if you remember, I gave you example of A, then intermediary, and then the ultimate beneficiary. And then there was a point where the amount has been received, Hana, which, so funding party was there, remember? All those things. Yes, absolutely correct. Okay? So, see students, chapter number 9, there was a reporting responsibility disclosure on the management or the company. Hana? Here there is a reporting responsibility on the auditor. कि auditor, वो जो वहाँ पर management ने disclose किया. So whether that is not containing any material misstatement. है ना? अब देखना ऐसे ही today will be starting after the break with CARO 2020. Kitna quickly you will be able to learn. Why? Because exactly you will see that half of the CARO is exactly the same as we have done in the disclosure requirements. Chapter number 9 में हमने management के लिए पढ़ा that there is a responsibility on the company. Chapter number 10 में you are going to see that there is a reporting requirement on the auditor. to see whether जो वहां पर बोला गया था whether that is done properly or not. ठीक है. So see, it is basically with respect to utilization of the borrowers funds and securities premium wala notes है ना, which was mentioned in the share capital and in the loans wala topic. ठीक है. So where the management has presented that to the best of his knowledge and belief, other than as disclosed in notes to accounts, no funds have been borrowed, loans or invested, right? So here auditor will mention that whether management has represented that to the best of its is whose management's knowledge and belief, other than the disclosure that has already been made with respect to the funds, advance, loans and investment. No other fund has been further advance, loans or invested. क्या मतलब कि मैनेजमेंट से कंफर्म कर लिया है कि उसके अलावा देयर इज नो अदर फंड. ठीक है. अब आई एम नॉट गोइंग इन डिटेल ऑफ दिस पॉइंट बिकॉज वी हैव स्पेंट गुड time in discussing these topics in chapter number 9. Okay, and this point says that whether management has represented to the best of its knowledge and belief, other than as disclosed in the notes to accounts, no funds have been received by the company from any person or entity, including foreign entity, whether in recording, writing, that the company shall, whether directly or indirectly, lend, invest in other persons or entities identified in any manner whatsoever by on behalf of the funding party or provide guarantee. है ना, exactly same है ना, exactly same है या नहीं. ठीक है. So अब यहाँ पर हमने क्या पढ़ा? Fourth, with respect to this point there are 3 sub points. So first point क्या कहता है कि whether management has represented that apart from those disclosure no other fund have been invested. Second one में क्या कहता है? Apart from those disclosures, so management has represented that apart from the amount that has been disclosed in the notes, no other fund have been received. Third point में auditor को क्या बोला गया? First of all, students, make this as 1, numeric 1 and 2. Make this small changes because this is talking about these 2 points. ये वाला 1 and ये वाला 2. ठीक है? So change it to 1 and 2. I am on page number 10.37. ठीक है. Done. So देखो, based on such audit procedures. तो अब third point में क्या बोलेंगे? पहले I will tell you in a very simple language. Third point में it is saying that based कि जितना भी audit procedures auditor को करना था, which he considered reasonable and appropriate, right? Apart from the above 2 representations, वो कैसे start होता था? First 2 point, whether management has represented, है ना. So यहाँ पर क्या बोला है कि जो मैनेजमेंट ने रिप्रेजेंट किया है, इसके अलावा ऑडिटर के नोटिस में तो कुछ ऐसा नहीं आया जिससे ये पता चलता है कि मैनेजमेंट का रिप्रेजेंटेशन क्या है. इट कंटेन्स मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट, कि मैनेजमेंट ने रॉन्ग रिप्रेजेंटेशन तो नहीं दिया है. पढ़ते हैं बरी. बेस्ड ऑन सच और अदर ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स that the auditor has considered reasonable and appropriate in the circumstances, nothing has come to their notice that has caused them to believe that the representations under subclause 1 and 2, है ना, 1 and 2 point में representations from management थे ना, contain any material misstatement. कि जो भी देखो फर्स्ट पॉइंट में क्या बोला कि मैनेजमेंट ने रिप्रेजेंट कर दिया ना कि कोई और फंड्स नहीं है अपार्ट फ्रॉम डिस्क्लोजर. सेकंड में क्या बोला? मैनेजमेंट ने डिस्क्लोज कर दिया ना कि कोई और फंड्स नहीं है विच हैव बीन रिसीव्ड अपार्ट फ्रॉम डिस्क्लोजर. ठीक है. थर्ड में क्या बोला कि बेस्ड ऑन व्हाटएवर वर्क ऑडिटर कंसीडर रीजनेबल, है ना, ऑडिट प्रोसीजर जो भी किए, जो ये फर्स्ट और सेकंड पॉइंट की रिप्रेजेंटेशन है ना, वेदर दे कंटेन एनी मटेरियल मिस्टेक. अगर करती हैं कंटेन तो भी ऑडिटर इज गोइंग टू मेंशन. इफ दे डू नॉट कंटेन देन आल्सो द ऑडिटर इज गोइंग टू मेंशन. ठीक है. Is it clear? And the last point as required by rule 11 is what? Whether the dividend declared or paid during the year by the company is in compliance with section 123 of the Companies Act. So when you will be doing your corporate law, so section 123 is with respect to provision regarding the declaration and payment of dividend out of profits. So whether the dividend declared and paid during the year by the company is in compliance with section 123. ठीक है. तो ये क्या है? 143 सबसेक्शन 3 का रिपोर्टिंग रिक्वायरमेंट. एंड लेट मी जस्ट अच्छा, आफ्टर द ब्रेक आई विल शो यू. अभी आई डोंट हैव दैट फाइल. आफ्टर द ब्रेक आई विल डेफिनेटली शो यू अ प्रैक्टिकल ऑडिट रिपोर्ट वेयर बाय यू विल सी दैट एग्जैक्टली यही लैंग्वेज आता है. एग्जैक्टली है ना. सो 143 सबसेक्शन 3 में हमने क्या पढ़ा और ये कहाँ से आ रहा था पॉइंट, वेयर बाय वी स्टार्टेड अ डिस्कशन ऑफ सेकंड ड्यूटी विच इज ड्यूटी टू रिपोर्ट गिवन अंडर सेक्शन 143 सबसेक्शन 2. तो ये तो रिपोर्ट करना ही है कि वेदर टू द बेस्ट ऑफ हिज इंफॉर्मेशन एंड नॉलेज द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट रिफ्लेक्टेड ट्रू एंड फेयर यू, है ना. ये तो हमने लास्ट टाइम किया ही था ना. ठीक है. फर्दर 143 सबसेक्शन 3 में शैल ऑल्सो स्टेट व्हाट दीज 10 पॉइंट्स. ठीक है. इज इट क्लियर? Is it clear? Quickly send in your reply, then we'll proceed further. ठीक है. So this is with respect to internal financial control का जो exceptions है. So with respect to all those companies. ठीक है. Then this I have already told you the chapter number 13 का आप कहाँ पढ़ने वाले हो डिटेल में, सॉरी गवर्नमेंट कंपनी का आप कहाँ पढ़ने वाले हो डिटेल में, चैप्टर नंबर 13 में. तो ये वो है. नाउ ड्यूटी टू साइन द ऑडिट रिपोर्ट. क्विकली टेल मी, उससे पहले ये क्लियर है ना? क्विकली. ठीक है. So now the next duty is duty to sign the audit report. Unsigned audit report थोड़ी ना दे दोगे. So this you have already done. Section 141 subsection 2 में पढ़ा था ना, that where the firm including LLP is appointed as the auditor. So the partner who is a chartered accountant is authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. So this is what is mentioned here. So section 145. अच्छा, duty to sign कहाँ आता है? Section 145 में of the Companies Act require that the person appointed as an auditor of the company shall sign the auditor's report or sign or certify any other document of the company in accordance with provisions of section 141 subsection 2. So duty to sign कहाँ आता है? Section 145 में, which gives a further reference to section 141 subsection 2, which we all have done in detail earlier, which requires a firm including LLP is appointed as an auditor of the company. Only the partners who are chartered accountants shall be authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. Simple. Further, it says that if any qualification, observation, or comments on financial transactions which have any adverse remark on the functioning of the company, ये पढ़ा था ना अभी 143 subsection 3 में, ये वाला point कहाँ गया? This point. So it is referring to this point. ठीक है. So let us read this again. So if any qualification, observation, adverse comments on the financial transaction or matters which have adverse effect on the functioning of the company, फिर क्या होगा? It shall be read out before the company in the general meeting. The auditor's report shall be read out before the company in the general meeting. Because see, it is going to have an impact on the functioning, adverse effect on the functioning of the company. तो फिर तो audit report क्या होगा? It will be read out at the general meeting before the members of the company. ठीक है? Now, section 143 subsection 9, I told you there are 15 subsections, Hana. So we have been studying so far till chapter number 8, Hana. And in fact, in 9, little reference was also there. We have studied so far that the auditor is required to comply with the standards on auditing. So where is it mentioned? So it is one of the duty of the auditor to comply with auditing standards, which is given in section 143 subsection 9. So this section simply states that as per section 143 subsection 9. So I hope the screen is clear. Akshay, isn't it clear? Others also please reply. Is the screen not clear? So Akshay, if you can just refresh your page, others are saying it is clear. Okay. So as per section 143 subsection 9 of the Companies Act, every auditor shall comply with the auditing standards. Okay. So as simple as that, section 143 subsection 9. So but देखो, as simple as that तो है, but this can always come as a true, false or MCQ ना. That where is it mentioned? So I may mention a wrong section. I may say that section 139 of the Companies Act states. Hana? Okay. Okay. Now section 143 subsection 10. So it basically, see, if you remember section 143 ka what was the name? Let me just take you through my Word file. So Akshay, it might be possible whenever I change the screen ना तो उसमें थोड़ा time लगता होगा adjust होने में, है ना? So powers and duties of auditors and auditing standards. तो auditing standard के लिए section 143 subsection 9 and 10 कुछ कहता है. 9 क्या कहता है कि auditor को comply करना है, and 10 क्या कहता है. So let me just take you through module. So it basically says that how the standards on auditing will be issued. So it basically says that first of all the ICI will recommend the standards. Then the National Financial Reporting Authority, it will examine those standards, and the central government then in consultation with NFRA, National Financial Reporting Authority, the central government will prescribe the standards on auditing. Simple. So see. So further, as per section 143 subsection 10 of the Act, the central government may prescribe the standards of auditing as recommended by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in consultation with and after examining the recommendations made by the National Financial Reporting Authority. तो पहले ICI ने recommend किया, उसको किसने examine किया? NFRA ने. NFRA and the CG in consultation with NFRA, it will what? Prescribe the standards on auditing. ठीक है, simple है. Like this is the process how it follows. Now duty to report on fraud. So subsection 143 subsection 12 to 15. You all have done this in detail in chapter number 5. So I'm not repeating it here. So these points are already covered. Okay. Now duty to report on any other matters specified by central government. So this is talking about CARO 2020, which we'll be doing after completing this. So abhi ke liye isko rehne dete hain, and this is 143 subsection 11. ठीक है. Seventh point is with respect to SA 600. I'll be taking it up in the next session. ठीक है. Now the last point before starting with CARO. So this is what duty to state the reasons for any qualification or negative report. Hana? So this is what section 143 subsection 4. It basically says that if any of the matter is included in the audit report which is answered in negative or with qualification, then the auditor needs to state the reason. So let's say 143 subsection 3 mein there was a requirement whereby the auditor is required to report that whether the financial statements comply with the auditing with the accounting standards. So if auditor mentions that the financial statement do not comply with auditing accounting standards, then the report shall also contain what the reasons. What are the reasons if management has said this? Yes, Swati, correct. Okay. So this was with respect to section 143, which contains what? Power and duties of auditor and auditing standards. Okay. So हमने कुछ rights किए, powers किए. What were those? Let us just quickly, in 5 minutes, have a look. So what were the rights that we did? Right to have access to the books. Then right to obtain information and explanation from the officers of the company. Right to receive notices and to attend general meeting. Right to report to members and right to liaise. This was with respect to the powers of the auditor. Then we did the duties, that is duty to inquire, then duty to report to the members, whereby we also studied about section 143 subsection 3. Duty to state on, the auditor's report shall also state on 10 matters which we have discussed in detail, whereby we have also referred to rule number 11, where 5 matters were discussed. Okay. Then we saw that the auditor will what? He will sign the audit report. Where is it given? It is given in section 145. Then we saw section 143 subsection 9 and 10 with respect to auditing standards. Section 143 subsection 11 is with respect to what? Your CARO 2020. Section 143 subsection 8 is with respect to branch audit report with respect to the branches, which we'll be doing in the next session. Then all these last subsections, subsection 12 to 15 with respect to the fraud reporting. Okay? So whether it is done in good faith, application of provisions which applies mutatis mutandis to cost accounting and company secretary, and penalty for non-compliance of section 143 subsection 12. Okay? So powers, rights, auditor shall make report to members. Auditor's report shall also state on certain matters. This is the last section that we did. subsection that we did, that is section 143 subsection 4, that if the report contains any matters which has an answer in negative or adverse, then the reasons are also to be stated. Okay. 5, 6, 7 subsections I have left because these are covered in detail in your chapter number 13. 8 again essay 600. 9 and 10, 9 simply says, subsection 9 simply says that the auditor needs, every auditor shall comply with standards on auditing. And 10 says that, first of all, ICI will recommend, then NEFRA will examine, and then CG in consultation with NEFRA will prescribe such standards. And 11 says additional matters to be recorded in case of specified companies CARO 2020. Okay. So tell me, till here, is it clear? Now we are left with 5 major topics in this chapter. So I'll try to cover CARO 2020 today itself. Very interesting, very, 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 very important from your examination point of view. Okay. So be with me till the end of the session. Hana will definitely try to cover it up by today itself. Apart from these, today today or maximum by tomorrow, I'll upload all the questions and answers, case scenarios, everything. Before coming for the last session for this chapter, which is scheduled on Thursday, please go through those questions because I'm sure that much time won't be left to discuss all the questions. Okay? So I'll take up your queries because in the next session also, we are going to cover essay 299, essay 600, cost audit, and your section 147. 4 important topics, and today's topic, CARO 2020 ultimate important. So quickly send in your replies. कोई भी doubt है अभी तक जितना भी हमने पढ़ा है ना? Let me just take you through the summary that is given at the start of this section chapter. देखो अभी हमने क्या पढ़ा था? Appointment of auditor section 139 में पढ़ा. Removal, resignation of auditor, giving of special notice, section 140. Eligibility, qualification, disqualification of auditor, section 141. Remuneration of auditor, section 142. Powers, duties of auditors, auditing standards, section 143. इसमें सिर्फ 143 subsection 11 is left, which is relating to CARO 2020. Auditor not to render certain services, section 144. Auditor to sign audit report, आज पढ़ा हमने section 145, which gives reference to section 141 subsection 2 also. Then auditor to attend general meeting, which is a right as well as duty given by section 146. Okay? So I told you the topics that are left are CARO 2020, your section 147, 148. 147 is with respect to punishment for contravention. 148 is with respect to the cost audit. And then essay 299 and essay 600. Okay. So, Mr. Rajiv Kumar is saying everything is clear till now. Shubham is saying clear till now, ma'am. Bhumika is also saying clear. Darshan is also saying understood. So are we good to go now? And shall we start with CARO 2020, the much awaited and very interesting and one of my favorite topic to teach. Like I'll definitely try to simplify it in the simplest form, like the easiest form. I'll try to deliver this topic to you. Okay? And as I've told you that after the break, we will be interacting with sir, with CA Rajesh Sachdeva sir, who addressed you in the last session also. So student, this is an opportunity for you to resolve your queries, whatever doubts you have from one of the faculties of Board of Studies of ICI. Hana? So everyone will not get this opportunity. So make maximum use of this opportunity. Like it is actually a privilege to learn from such a learned person. Hana? So jot down your queries, send in your queries, whatever you have. We will definitely discuss that. Okay? Now, let us read section 143 subsection 11 so that we can make a foundation for your CARO 2020. Okay? So, I am on page number 10.40. Quickly come to this page number. and please refer to the capsule that is given to you, which is available on the BS Knowledge portal. See, these capsules, now these summaries, RTPs, MTPs, these are made after a lot of effort, after a lot of research work. And why are these made? Only for your benefit. So if you will not take advantage of these resources that are available, that are made available to you now, that is your loss only. So go through these. All these capsules, they really give a bird's eye view of a very lengthy chapter. For revision purpose only, I am telling you. For understanding, for learning, that for that too, you will have to consider your module as a base. Okay? Now, companies, what is CARO 2020? Companies Auditors Report Order 2020. Okay? So section 143 subsection 11. अब ये कहाँ से आया है कि यहाँ पर भी additional reporting requirement है. So CG के पास power है that in consultation with NAFRA, National Financial Reporting Authority, CG may by special or general order direct in case of certain classes of a company that the auditor's report shall also include a statement on such matters as may be specified therein. So let us read this. So this is section 143 subsection 11. So the central government may, in consultation with National Financial Reporting Authority, by general or special order, direct in respect of such class or description of companies. So such class or description means we will have to study the applicability of CARO. That is what all are the companies to which CARO reporting is applicable. And this also implies what? It is not applicable to all the companies. Okay? As may be specified in the order, that the auditor's report shall also include. तो जो 143 सबसेक्शन 3 के हमने 10 पॉइंट्स पढ़े, या 143 सबसेक्शन 1 में हमने ड्यूटी टू एनक्वायर पढ़ा, वो सब तो करना ही है. या 143 सबसेक्शन 2 में हमने देखा दैट द ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट शैल state that the financial statement reflected true and fair view. वो सब तो करना ही है. In addition to that, so what is mentioned, the auditor's report shall also include a statement on such matters as may be specified therein. So there are in total 21 clauses that we are going to discuss today in detail. है ना? So CARO 2020 तो है आपका ये, इसका अगर आप देखोगे तो व्हाट इज द फॉर्मेशन. CARO 2020 में देयर आर 4 पैराग्राफ्स. पैराग्राफ नंबर 1 is with respect to the applicability to what all companies CARO 2020 is applicable. Paragraph number 2 says that the auditor's report to contain matters specified in paragraph number 3 and 4. That's it. इतना ही बोलता है. Then paragraph number 3 contains all those 21 clauses. 21 total 21 clauses are there. We are going to study each and every clause in detail one by one, and each and every clause is important. किसी भी clause पे आपको you can always get a question. And paragraph number 4 says that the auditor needs to mention the reasons for any unfavorable or qualified answer. If you remember, अभी हमने 143 subsection 4 में भी तो यही पढ़ा था ना कि अगर रिपोर्ट में कुछ भी एडवर्स में या क्वालिफाइड है तो द रीजन विल बी गिवन. सेम वे हियर आल्सो, है ना. अगर आप कुछ देखो, द ऑडिटर इज गिविंग हिज रिपोर्टिंग, हिज opinion, है ना, and you are saying that let's say 143 subsection 3 की बात करते हैं that the financial statement are not complying with accounting standards. There must be some reasons ना, वो reasons भी तो mention कर दोगे ना, ऐसे तो ना किसी के लिए भी बोल दोगे. Same way here also there are 21 clauses. Out of these 21 clauses, auditor का कोई negative, unfavorable, qualified is what? Qualified is where you put some reservation कि ये ठीक नहीं है. ठीक है. सो या अनफेवरेबल आंसर कोई देते हो तो द रीजन इज टू बी गिवन. सो दिस इज व्हाट द brief idea as to how CARO 2020 is framed. Paragraph, there are 4 paragraphs. Paragraph number 1 is applicability. 2 says that 3 and 4 में जो matters है उस पे discuss करना है. 3 says all those 21 clauses, and paragraph number 4 is reasons for unfavorable or qualified answers. ठीक है. So students, CARO 2020 से पहले ना 2016 भी था. तो बेसिकली क्या होता है, एंड इनफैक्ट उससे पहले इफ यू गो at the like history. So 2003 में भी था, 2000 CARO 2003 भी था, 2015 भी था, 16 भी था. Then finally CARO 2020, which is in your syllabus, like it superseded, it replaced CARO 2016. ठीक है. सो ये रिप्लेसमेंट्स क्यों होते हैं? एज आई ऑलवेज टोल्ड यू कि कुछ एडिशंस होते हैं, कुछ डिलीशंस होते हैं, तभी तो हम पढ़ते हैं ना, द ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट शैल स्टेट, शैल आल्सो स्टेट, शैल फर्दर स्टेट, है ना. सेम वे CARO 2020 इसमें कुछ एडिशंस आर बीन मेड एंड हाँ. So I hope students the voice is clear now. Is it clear? Quickly send in your replies. Rajiv Kumar Singh, Hira Hussain, is it clear now? So maybe due to weather, है ना, weather outside, there can be some technical issue. So is it, am I audible now? Manish, should I continue? ठीक है. So students, where were we? So we were discussing that after 2016, now we have what? CARO 2020. And I was telling you that CARO 2016 was earlier applicable. So some additions are made, some deletions are made, and now we get what? CARO 2020, and majorly the amendments that have been done in Schedule 3 that are also covered where in CARO 2020. So under Schedule 3, I am repeating it again that in chapter number 9, we have seen that there are the disclosure requirements which the company is required to give. Now here CARO 2020 mein you will see that here the auditor is required to give an additional reporting as to whether the same has been done as is required by the law or regulation. ठीक है? Is it clear? ठीक है? So let me just take you through the module. So now section 143 subsection 11 से power आती है central government के पास to give by special or general order that the certain classes of company shall report on certain matters. अब वो certain क्या है यही हम discuss करेंगे. ठीक है? So it is given on page number 10.40 and CARO reporting is given on page number 10.51. ठीक है? So see applicability. So paragraph number 1, and if you read at the heading, it says short title, application and commencement. ठीक है? So short title is what? CARO 2020 का full form दिया हुआ है. That is companies auditors report order. ठीक है? तो ये कैसे लिखना होता है आपको? Companies auditor report order 2020. ठीक है? So Swati, what is your doubt? I mean, what do you want to ask? So CARO 2020 is now applicable. So the auditors, when they're giving the report, they are, in fact, it became applicable from financial year 2021. Earlier, it was supposed to be applicable from financial year 1920, but because of the pandemic, the applicability was deferred by 1 year. So 2021 financial year say the auditors are reporting with respect to the reporting requirements of CARO 2020. So Ati, I hope this solves your doubt. Okay. Now, so short title I have told you, commencement also I have told you. So students, you may see that it is mentioned. Just a minute. So just a minute. See, it is mentioned here now that every report. So this paragraph, so abhi I'm discussing what? This is your paragraph number 2, which says that auditor's report to contains matters specified in paragraph number 3 and 4. So it is mentioned that every report made by the auditor under section 143 of the Companies Act on the accounts of every company audited by him, to which this order applies. Abhi, to which this order applies, this will be doing when we would have covered paragraph number 1. For financial year commencing on or after 1st April 2019. So don't get confused. It was deferred for 1 year. So isliye financial year 2021 se it became applicable. Shall addition to the matters specified, shall addition in addition. So जो 143 subsection 3 में था वो तो करना ही है. 143 subsection 2 में जो line है वो लिखनी है. 143 subsection 1 में जो inquiry है वो तो करनी ही है. In addition, contain the matters specified in paragraph number 3 and 4 as may be applicable. Provided this order shall not apply to the auditor's report on consolidated financial statement except for the last clause, that is clause number 21 of paragraph number 3. अब ये क्या है, जब हम paragraph number 3 करेंगे तब पढ़ेंगे, ठीक है? See, CARO, so Swati is saying, ma'am, why there is CARO, need to study CARO. See, ऐसे तो you will say why there is a need to study section 143 subsection 3, है ना? So the legislation, the law, the Companies Act gives some reporting responsibilities, some duty on the auditor कि auditor आपको ये सब report करना ही करना है when you are auditing the financial statements of a company, ठीक है? Section 143 subsection 11 में specifically right reserve है for the central government कि central government को अगर लगे तो कुछ class companies के लिए कुछ matters को स्पेसिफाई कर सकता है बाय वे ऑफ ऑर्डर कि आपको इन पर एडिशनल रिपोर्टिंग देनी ही देनी है, विच इज गिवन बाय सेक्शन 143 सबसेक्शन 11, है ना? तो दीज आर मैंडेटरीली, द ऑडिटर्स आर ऑफ एवरी कंपनी आर मैंडेटरीली रिक्वायर्ड टू गिव ऑल दीज रिपोर्टिंग with respect to the matters that are specified. So that is why we are also studying, है ना? And these are the set format. Abhi after the break now I'll share with you a practical audit report, and these reports you can download from the public domain, easily available, and you will see that exactly the same format is followed by all the auditors across the country. Because ये law ने लिखी है language कि आपको इस language में ये वाला reporting करना ही करना है, ठीक है? ठीक है? Is it clear, Swati? So this is what paragraph number 2. So before doing this applicability wala paragraph, I have done paragraph number 2. Why? Because we need to take a break at 7 o'clock because sir will be joining at 7 o'clock. Okay? So abhi I didn't want to start with paragraph number 1, which is very, very important. We will do it in one go so that we don't have to take a break when we are doing paragraph number 1. Okay? So Swati, is it clear? So she is saying, ma'am, it is clear. So I'll do one thing. Let's take a quick break of 10 minutes. After the break, let's interact with sir, and then I'll be starting with paragraph number 1. Okay? So is it clear? And before going for the break, please send in your replies. Whatever we have done in this chapter so far, is it clear to each and everyone? Okay? So quick break of 10 minutes. Thereafter, we'll be meeting. And for all those, I think, Bhumika, you raised the doubt with respect to case scenario, Hana. Please resend your queries, whereby you were asking sir to help you out, right? So resend your queries. After the break, we will meet with sir. So a quick break of 10 minutes. So students, I hope you all are back after the break. So as before going for the break, I told you that today you have an opportunity to learn from a learned person, our CS Rajiv Sachdeva sir. So sir, over to you. Please
Thank you, Nancy.
queries.
Good evening, students. Very good evening to all of you. Yes, students. In last lecture, on 18th May, I think, 18th May, we had discussed, actually we were discussing about, now we are discussing about how to prepare. Of course, your teachers are delivering their lectures. They are teaching you. They are your teachers. And you are understanding the content in detail. Understanding is the first step. Without understanding, you cannot move ahead. That is true. But if I say, if you have, say, 100% understanding, even then you need to prepare for examination purpose. For examination purpose. For examination purpose, only understanding will not do. So you have to focus on preparing, and in this direction of preparation, in last lecture on 18th May, I had given you one tip, and that was have some backup. हम बात कर रहे थे स्टूडेंट्स, कुछ जनरल बातें अभी करेंगे, कुछ स्पेसिफिक भी करेंगे, सारे मिक्स एंड मैच करेंगे. कुछ तो बैकअप हो बिफोर यू गो टू द एग्जाम. तो उसमें मैंने आपको उस डायरेक्शन में फर्स्ट स्टेप मैंने आपको बताया था कि हैव सम बैकअप, एंड हाउ डू यू डेवलप दैट बैकअप. हैव grip over the definition part, because in my observation there are 100 plus definitions so far as your syllabus is concerned. दो एग्जांपल से मैंने ये बात आपको क्लैरिफाई की थी. एक हमने ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन का एग्जांपल लिया था और एक ऑडिट एविडेंस. ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन हमने लास्ट लेक्चर में बात की थी, और होपफुली ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन और ऑडिट एविडेंस ये आपने माइंड में एस्टेब्लिश कर लिया, बिकॉज आई एडवाइज्ड यू कि इसको कम से कम आपको 3 डेज तक तो करना ही करना है. 5 डेज एडवाइज किया होगा शायद मैंने. 5 डेज तो सबसे बेस्ट है, लेकिन 3 डेज तक तो स्टूडेंट्स आप करो ही करो उसे. और 5 टाइम्स रीडिंग इज द बेस्ट स्ट्रेटजी यू कैन अडॉप्ट. और अभी मैं जानना चाहता हूं नैन्सी कि कितने स्टूडेंट्स ने ये इंप्लीमेंट किया, और बिकॉज थर्सडे 19, 20, 21, 22 एंड वी आर टुडे ऑन 23rd of May. तो स्टूडेंट्स 20 डेफिनेशंस का आपके पास बैकअप है या नहीं है, और आपने कौन कौन से डेफिनेशंस किए हैं. कैन यू गिव सम फीडबैक?
Sir, there is a student, Miss Kiran Shukla. She is saying that, sir, I have made backups for few topics. So, Kiran, please specify, as sir is saying, that what all definitions you have prepared as a backup. And others also, please reply. So, abhi students are replying. Abhi I haven't received any reply. Abhi I haven't received any reply as such.
अभी रिप्लाई नहीं आया, कोई बात. स्टूडेंट्स, मैंने यहाँ एक और बात पे जोर दिया था लास्ट लेक्चर में कि इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करना बहुत डिफिकल्ट. आप सुनते जा रहे हो, लेक्चर सुनते जा रहे हो, और एक और मैं आपको इसी डायरेक्शन में एक और टिप दे रहा हूं जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है आपकी तैयारी के लिए, प्रेपरेशन के लिए, कि स्टूडेंट्स को, जैसे अभी एग्जाम नवंबर में है तो टाइम बड़ा दूर नजर आता है, अभी तो बहुत दिन पड़े हैं, बहुत महीने पड़े हैं रादर, अभी तो बहुत महीने पड़े हैं, टू फार अवे एग्जाम, अभी हमें करने की क्या जरूरत है? बट रोम इज नॉट बिल्ट, प्रेपरेशन आपकी धीरे धीरे होगी, इट इज वेरी स्लो प्रोसेस, आई एम टेलिंग यू। और कोर्स आपका ह्यूज है, उसमें जो काम करना है आपको, बहुत सारा काम करना है। अगर आप अच्छे रिलीजियसली अगर आप करोगे ये सारा काम जो आपको टीचर्स ने पढ़ाया है, तो इट इज, बिलीव मी, इट इज वेरी टाइम कंज्यूमिंग टास्क। आपको एक अच्छे लेवल पे तैयारी ले जाने के लिए आपको बहुत काम करना पड़ता है, लॉट ऑफ वर्क यू नीड टू डू in this direction, and I advise every student that 4 hours a day आपको ऑडिटिंग पढ़ना ही चाहिए, 4 hours a day for the balance period. I think 5.5 months are there, June, July, August, September, October, 5.5 months are there approximately, 5 months ही मानो क्योंकि May तो is about to end, तो 5 months are there students, अभी टाइम आपके पास अच्छा है, डोंट वेस्ट योर टाइम एंड स्टार्ट योर प्रेपरेशंस राइट अवे, वेट मत करिए, क्योंकि रिस्पांस फीडबैक जो है नैन्सी मैडम ने अभी तक मुझे नहीं बताया कि कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ने अभी आपने स्टार्ट, इसका मतलब मैं इमेजिन कर पा रहा हूं यू डिड नॉट स्टार्ट येट.
Sir, actually, I've received reply of 2-3 students.
2-3 स्टूडेंट्स हैं, चलो
हाँ.
कुछ धीरे धीरे बढ़ेंगे स्टूडेंट्स. तो कौन कौन है अभी मेरे को बताओ ना.
Sir, Diksha Agrawal, she is saying that it's really useful and able to create backup for 15 definitions.
15 definitions, very good. Can you tell Diksha which definitions you have learned and how many definitions you did in one day?
So then Kiran Shukla is there. She is saying that she has prepared backup for definitions of audit evidence,
Yes.
audit program, audit plan and strategy, analytical procedures. Then Bhumika is there. She is saying she has prepared backup for audit evidence, audit file, substantive procedure, external confirmation, initial audit engagement.
Very good, very good. 3 students का रिस्पांस स्टूडेंट्स आया, फीडबैक आया है, और नैन्सी मैडम ने सबको नाम से एड्रेस किया है.
One more student, Himanshu, he is saying that not all but 20 definitions for first 2 chapters applied and remembered.
चलो कुछ तो किया है, स्टार्ट तो करो. व्हाट आई से इज कि आप इंप्लीमेंटेशन शुरू तो करो, स्टार्ट तो करो. ऐसा नहीं आपने कुछ तो चलो किया, हिमांशु की बात कर रहे हो ना, चलो स्टार्ट तो करो. बिकॉज व्हेन यू स्टार्ट में थोड़ा आपको दम लगता है, मेरे को कहना चाहिए, और फिर थोड़े दिन आपको मुश्किल भी हो सकता है, मुश्किल भी लगे और आप डिफिकल्ट भी टास्क लगे, लेकिन ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम आप जो प्रैक्टिस करते रहते हो आपकी चीजें एबीसी की तरह आने लग जाती हैं. लाइक एबीसी, जैसे आपको इंग्लिश में एबीसी बोलते हैं जब आप, तो आपके माइंड पे कोई प्रेशर नहीं पड़ता, डेफिनेशंस आपके माइंड से ऐसे निकलनी शुरू हो जाएंगी, और फिर ऑडिटिंग की एबीसी आपकी स्ट्रॉन्ग बिल्डअप हो जाती है, और इसको मैं बैकअप कहता हूं. साथ साथ द मोमेंट you do 15-20 definitions, you have backup of 15-20 definitions. अब आप तैयार हैं इस बात के लिए कि आप क्वेश्चंस की प्रिपरेशन भी एग्जामिनेशन में अपीयर होने के लिए उस एंगल से, एग्जामिनेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आई शुड से, आप क्वेश्चंस भी प्रिपेयर करना शुरू कर दें. तो माय एडवाइस टू ऑल स्टूडेंट्स इज दैट यू स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग क्वेश्चंस एज वेल. तो आप क्वेश्चंस जब प्रिपेयर करना शुरू करेंगे, अब मैं आपको कोई भी ऐसे नहीं बताऊंगा कि क्वेश्चंस प्रिपेयर करना शुरू कर दो. नो, आई विल टेल यू हाउ टू डू दैट. अभी स्टूडेंट्स एक मैंने एग्जांपल लिया था ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, ऑडिट एविडेंस आपको समझाया था, और लिंकेज बनाना तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. मैं एक क्वेश्चन ले रहा हूं चैप्टर 1 का, ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंट ऑडिटर एज पर एसए 200, ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द ऑडिट एज पर एसए 200. Objective of the auditor, independent auditor, SA 200. Yes. Objective of the independent auditor, स्टूडेंट्स ये अगर मैं स्टडी मटेरियल आपका देख रहा हूं तो 1.3 पेज नंबर पर ये आंसर इसका लिखा हुआ है. ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंट ऑडिटर हमने डिस्क्राइब किया हुआ है वहां पे, मैं वहीं से पढ़ रहा हूं. As per SA 200, in conducting audit of financial statements, the overall objective of the auditor are, number 1, A point और B 2 पॉइंट लिखे हुए हैं. A point, to obtain reasonable assurance, to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole, to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free from material misstatements. Financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement. Material misstatement. Misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. Whether due to fraud error. अभी ये A पॉइंट मैंने कंप्लीट नहीं लिखा, अभी कंप्लीट नहीं इसमें बात हुई अभी. तो इसका अगर मैं आपको अभी लिंकेज या आपके माइंड में कैसे इसे करें, व्हाट, इसका आपके माइंड में क्वेश्चन आना चाहिए, व्हाट द ऑडिटर हैज टू डू. व्हाट, इसमें आप लिखो व्हाट, WHAT. What the auditor needs, he needs to obtain reasonable. अब reasonable assurance यहाँ पे आपके माइंड में immediately आना चाहिए, ये definition आनी चाहिए आपके माइंड में. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance. Reasonable assurance is high level of assurance but not absolute assurance. Complete assurance नहीं होता, because in auditing situations, आपके टीचर्स ने आपको पढ़ाया, मुझे मालूम है, ऑडिटर रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस लेता है एंड दैट इज हाई लेवल ऑफ एश्योरेंस. ये हाई लेवल ऑफ एश्योरेंस है लेकिन एब्सोल्यूट नहीं होता, कंप्लीट नहीं होता. बिकॉज इसका सबसे बड़ा रीजन होता है कि बिकॉज टेस्ट चेकिंग होता है. ऑडिटर जब ऑडिट करता है स्टूडेंट्स, टाइम जो है उसके पास लिमिट होता है, कॉस्ट लिमिटेशन फैक्टर होते हैं, इनहेरेंट लिमिटेशंस ऑफ ऑडिट आपने पढ़ा है, और टेस्ट चेकिंग पे वो डिपेंड होता है, बिकॉज 100% चेकिंग इन ऑडिटिंग सिचुएशंस इज नॉट पॉसिबल. तो देयरफॉर ऑडिटर ऑब्टेन्स रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस. This is a high level of assurance, but not absolute assurance. अब आप यहां पे what अपने माइंड में रखिए कि what auditor needs. He needs to obtain a reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. अभी जल्दी, डोंट बी इन हरी व्हेन यू डू द क्वेश्चंस. हरी में ना करें. दिस इज माय सीरियस एडवाइस टू ऑल ऑफ यू. नंबर काउंट करने के लिए कि आज मैंने 10 क्वेश्चन किए, कोई आपको अवार्ड नहीं मिलेगा वहां पे. आप नंबर, आप उसकी क्वालिटी के पीछे जाएं, उसको आराम से करें, स्लो करें, बिकॉज स्लो जितना आप डाइजेस्ट करेंगे उतना आपके माइंड में एस्टेब्लिश अच्छे तरीके से होगा. और एक एक वर्ड को अच्छी तरह से माइंड में एस्टेब्लिश करके 5 टाइम्स उसको रीडिंग करिए, चाहे आता भी है. टू ऑब्टेन रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस, अब 5 टाइम्स इसको रीड करना है आपने समझने के बाद, whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement whether due to fraud or error. अब इसमें मिस स्टेटमेंट भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, जो आप डेफिनेशन पार्ट में लर्न करेंगे, आपने टीचर्स से समझ भी लिया होगा। मिस स्टेटमेंट अगर मैं आपको यहीं पे अगर बताता हूं तो इट इज डिफरेंस बिटवीन रिक्वायर्ड एंड रिपोर्टेड। बट इट इज द डिफरेंस between reported and what is required. It can be in respect of classification, in respect of disclosure, in respect of amount. वो 4 बातें हैं इसमें। वो तो it is basically difference between what is required and what is reported. So A point जो अभी मैंने हाफ पॉइंट लिखवाया उसमें what आंसर हो रहा है कि टू ऑब्टेन रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस अबाउट वेदर द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स एज ए होल आर फ्री फ्रॉम मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट वेदर ड्यू टू फ्रॉड और एरर। अगर मैं स्टूडेंट्स मेरे को रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस मिल जाएगा तो क्या हो जाएगा, अब लिंकेज भी साथ बनाऊंगा। व्हाई आई एम डूइंग दिस, व्हाई आई एम गेटिंग रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस। अब नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन मेरा व्हाई है, व्हाई आंसर करूंगा। तो आप लिंकेज भी बनाइए कि if I am getting reasonable assurance, why I am doing this? तो why का आंसर करिए यहाँ पे, thereby enabling that reasonable whatever assurance I am getting, with that assurance the auditor will enable himself, thereby enabling the auditor। यहाँ पे वर्ड्स देखो, वर्ड्स पे भी आपने तो ग्रिप करनी है धीरे धीरे, तो बहुत अच्छी आपकी मास्टरी हो जाएगी। thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion, on the financial statements, and he has to see whether the financial statements are prepared in accordance with whether the financial statements are prepared in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework, FRF, applicable financial reporting framework। अब स्टूडेंट्स applicable, अब यहां पे देखो, thereby why I am doing this, because I have to express an opinion on the financial statements, on whether the financial statement, and check whether the financial statements are prepared in accordance with the applicable FRF, applicable financial reporting framework. Applicable financial reporting framework means this is a framework which is adopted by, applicable financial reporting framework is framework adopted by the enterprise entity, by the entity in accordance with its need, जो उसकी need है, or in accordance with the law, according to need and nature, or in accordance with the law। लॉ का एग्जांपल आपको देता हूं यहाँ पे, जैसे कंपनी के केस में देखिए, तो कंपनी के केस में फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स एज पर कंपनीज एक्ट, एज पर शेड्यूल 3, एज पर इंडेस, एज पर एएस बनाए जाएंगे। तो वहां पे ये एग्जांपल दिया मैंने आपको। तो आप एप्लीकेबल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क एग्जाम में भी पूछी गई है डेफिनेशन, तो आपने टीचर्स ने आपको कराई होगी जरूर, इसको भी लर्न करना है आपने, जो मैंने तो आपको भी समझाया। तो एप्लीकेबल यहाँ पे एफआरएफ, दिस इज फ्रेमवर्क विच इज अडॉप्टेड बाय, इसमें आपको जो लिंकेज करने के लिए वर्ड है, अडॉप्टेड बाय द एंटरप्राइज एंटिटी। एंड इस y को मैं दो पार्ट्स में बांटूंगा। y अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ, y एक बार और हम करेंगे, और प्लस, इसमें प्लस साथ में लिखो, सो एज टू कम्युनिकेट, व्हाट के साथ इसको मैं लिंकेज कर रहा हूं, ये एक ही पॉइंट है बेसिकली, दिस इज ओनली पॉइंट ए, और ये भी आपका y आंसर देता है। दो बातें हैं y में, सो एज टू कम्युनिकेट, so as to communicate to the users of the financial statements, वो आ गया ऊपर मेरे ख्याल से ना, so as to communicate to the users of the financial statements in accordance with the auditor's findings, in accordance with auditor's findings. और in accordance with the auditor's findings, because students, जब मैं रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस ऑब्टेन करूंगा, मैं ओपिनियन दे रहा हूं, एविडेंस मैंने कलेक्ट किया होगा, तो ऑब्वियसली स्टूडेंट्स आई हैव टू रिपोर्ट टू द यूजर्स ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स। यूजर्स स्टूडेंट्स आप सबको मालूम है, शेयर होल्डर्स आर यूजर्स, बैंकर्स, क्रेडिटर्स, इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट, जीएसटी, ऑल आर यूजर्स ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स इन अकॉर्डेंस विद द ऑडिटर्स फाइंडिंग्स। ऑडिटर्स फाइंडिंग्स, जो ऑडिटर्स की फाइंडिंग है, ऑडिटर्स की फाइंडिंग्स ओपिनियन आर एक्सप्रेस्ड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ ओपिनियन। सो एज तो कम्युनिकेट कहां पे हो रही है, कम्युनिकेट कहां पे होंगे, अल्टीमेटली जाके रिपोर्ट के अंदर होंगे। और हाउ आई विल डू दैट, अब व्हाट, व्हाई एंड हाउ, अब हाउ आई विल डू दैट, आई विल रिपोर्ट इन अकॉर्डेंस विद द एसेस and legal requirements, in accordance with legal requirements. How I am going to do that? What, why and third is how. तो आपने तीन क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स अपने आप से पूछने हैं, लिंकेज बनेगा माइंड में आपके, और आप अच्छे से क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में लिख पाओगे। एंड दिस मच अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम, अभी हमने मेरे ख्याल से 15-20 मिनट तो मिनिमम डिवोट किए हैं इसके ऊपर, नैन्सी, इजंट इट? To report in accordance with essays, in accordance with essays and legal requirements. ये फाइनल आउटकम होता है, ऑब्जेक्टिव जो फाइनली अचीव होता है। How an auditor does it? To report, ultimately end आउटकम क्या है, रिजल्ट क्या है, रिपोर्ट इन अकॉर्डेंस विद द एसेस। तो स्टूडेंट्स, मैंने आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ ऑडिटर समझाने की कोशिश की है। समझ तो आपने टीचर से भी लिया, लेकिन मैंने ये आपको ये बताने की कोशिश किया आप क्वेश्चंस को हैंडल, प्रिपेयर कैसे करेंगे। तो आप क्वेश्चंस पिकअप करें, 15 से 20 मिनट, 25 मिनट एक क्वेश्चन पर लगाएं, 5 टाइम्स इसकी रीडिंग करें, और फिर आप देखें उस क्वेश्चन पे आपकी ग्रिप, और उसको 3 दिन तक करें, उस क्वेश्चन को 3 दिन तक मिनिमम करें, टाइम का बेस्ट यूटिलाइजेशन करें, 4 आवर्स डेली मिनिमम पढ़ें ऑडिटिंग, और रिजल्ट विल फॉलो, रिजल्ट विल फॉलो, मार्क्स विल फॉलो। यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर एंड मार्क्स, बिलीव मी, मार्क्स विल फॉलो। आप एक बार इंप्लीमेंटेशन तो स्टार्ट करें, जैसे मैं आपको समझा रहा हूं लास्ट लेक्चर में, जैसे मैंने आपको डेफिनेशन, तो डेफिनेशन प्लस अब आप डेली चाहे 3 क्वेश्चंस का टारगेट रखें। अगर आप 3 क्वेश्चन स्टूडेंट्स प्रिपेयर करते हैं एक दिन में, मींस विच विल टेक 1.5 आवर ओनली, और 3 क्वेश्चन 30 डेज में 90 क्वेश्चन आपके प्रिपेयर हो जाते हैं। मल्टीप्लायर इंपैक्ट देखिए आपका कितना है, क्यूमुलेटिव इंपैक्ट कितना आएगा। और जो चैप्टर आपका चल रहा है, जैसे कारो मैडम करा रहे हैं आपको, तो माय एडवाइस टू ऑल स्टूडेंट्स इज, कारो के आप कम से कम 2 क्लोजेज हर रोज इसी मैनर में करें जैसे मैंने आपको समझाया। ज्यादा क्लॉजेज एक दिन में ना करिए, 2 क्लॉजेज एक दिन का टारगेट रखिए। तो आप चाहे 10 दिन में आपका कारो कंप्लीट होगा, लेकिन बहुत अच्छे से होगा। और स्टूडेंट्स, मोबाइल नंबर मैंने लास्ट लेक्चर में शेयर किए थे, आपको कोई भी डाउट है आप मोबाइल पे कॉल करके पूछ सकते हैं। सो स्टूडेंट्स, मैं अपनी ये वाली जो लेक्चर्स अभी कंटिन्यू रखूंगा, बीच बीच में मैं आपको गाइड करता रहूंगा, एटलीस्ट ट्वाइस ए वीक में भी हमारा टारगेट रहेगा, ताकि मैं व्हाट आई वांट इज कि आप टाइमली अपनी प्रिपरेशन शुरू कर दें। ये नहीं कि 2 महीने पहले हम स्टार्ट करेंगे फिर सारा मैस बन जाएगा, फिर आप पूरा सिलेबस भी नहीं कर पाओगे और क्वेश्चंस भी आपके पूरे नहीं हो पाएंगे। तो अभी टाइम है, टाइम का बेस्ट यूटिलाइजेशन करिए। यस, आर देयर एनी क्वेरीज?
सर एज ऑफ नाउ तो स्टूडेंट्स विल स्टार्ट राइटिंग।
हाँ जी,
अभी तो स्टूडेंट्स लिखेंगे तो देन आई विल रिसीव।
चलो ठीक है, तुम मुझे नेक्स्ट टाइम जब आऊंगा तो बता देना अगर कुछ फीडबैक आएगा तो।
श्योर सर, श्योर सर।
और स्टूडेंट्स को जस्ट मोटिवेट करो कि क्वेश्चंस करना प्रिपेयर करना शुरू करें।
राइट सर, राइट।
तुम भी एक बार मोटिवेट कर देना। जिस
राइट
हिसाब से मैंने बताया, आराम आराम से टेक इट इजी करें, स्लोली करें और डाइजेस्ट करके करें आराम से।
राइट।
उससे क्या होगा कि इस्टेब्लिश होंगे और 3 दिन तक जो भी काम करें वो 3 दिन तक करें।
राइट।
उससे बहुत अच्छा माइंड में स्टेब्लिश हो जाती हैं चीजें। और टाइम टेस्टेड टेक्निक्स हैं व्हिच आई एम टेलिंग।
राइट, राइट।
हाँ
सर, Miss Hera Hussain, she's saying that I will apply these tips. Thank you so much, sir. These tips are really very helpful for us.
Great,
And
great.
Miss Kiran Shukla is saying, sir, thanks a lot. Our confidence level has increased. Like she has prepared a backup in as you have advised in the last session. So I'm sure that students will now apply this tip also, which you have shared.
Great, great. तो मैं नेक्स्ट जब आऊंगा तो आपके कम से कम नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में जब मैं आऊंगा, मे बी आई विल कम ऑन फ्राइडे थर्सडे इटसेल्फ।
ओके।
तो स्टूडेंट्स को एडवाइस करिए, नैन्सी आप भी एडवाइस करना कि कम से कम 3 क्वेश्चंस का मैंने टारगेट दिया, तो 9 क्वेश्चन तो प्रिपेयर करके आए।
राइट, राइट,
है ना? तो 9 क्वेश्चंस, क्योंकि बिकॉज शाम को 6 बजे क्लास शुरू होती है, तब तक 9 क्वेश्चंस उनके 3 आज 3 कल और 9 क्वेश्चंस प्रिपेयर करें, प्लस डेफिनेशंस वाली जर्नी है उनको भी कैरी फॉरवर्ड करें। तो ये आप एक बार दोबारा से एक बार अनाउंस कर देना क्लास में।
Right, sure, sir, sure.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your useful tips. I'm sure students will take benefit from all these tips that you are sharing.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, sir.
You can continue, Nancy.
Right, thank you, sir. So students, I hope you all are actually taking full advantage of these interactions that you are having. And Dikshita is also saying that these suggestions are very useful. Per day, she's saying that I am taking backup of 5 definitions. That's good, Dikshita. And other students also?
Very good, very good. Other students are also communicating?
Sir, they are saying that Swati is saying she'll definitely follow these tips. Then there was a student who has mentioned the Rajiv Kumar Singh is there. So he has mentioned that I have also learned few definition by making backup. I have completely learned the definition of audit documentation, audit evidence, meaning of audit, professional skepticism, assertion, audit program, and
very
audit
good,
file.
very good. I appreciate. Great.
So that's it. So students are actually interested in more tips. So looking forward for your further
I will share in every lecture almost.
Right, sir, right. Okay, students, that's good. And that is what you all should do. Hana? Listen to these sessions attentively, take benefit of all the facilities, all these interactions that are being organized for you and you only, right? So now, after this interactive, useful session for you, now let us go back to CARO 2020, where we had left before the break. So we were discussing about the applicability of CARO 2020. So I hope you all are back to now chapter number 10. And in case of any of your queries, please, that you want sir to answer, please send in your queries. Each and every query will be answered. Also, as sir has advised you, please follow these tips, Hana. So make a backup of definition, continue that. And the second tip that has been shared with you today is to prepare what 3 questions on a daily basis. So at the end of the session, I'll definitely tell you as to in this chapter, what 3 questions you can prepare. And in fact, for the next 3 days, 9 questions that you can prepare before coming for the session on Thursday. Okay? So Kiran is saying, ma'am, we are enriched. It will surely help us to prepare for exam. Yes. And that is the very purpose why these interactions have been organized, to help you prepare for your exams in a good manner. Okay? So chalo, now back to CARO 2020. So we were discussing paragraph number 1 with respect to applicability of CARO 2020. Okay? So I hope you all have now open the page, the relevant page in your module, which is on page number 10.41. Students, now back to chapter number 10, which is 10.41 page number. And as I've told you before going for the break, that CARO 2020 is basically divided into 4 sections. So 4 paragraphs. Paragraph 1 is with respect to the applicability of CARO 2020. Paragraph 2 says that the auditor's report is required to contain matters as specified in paragraph number 3 and 4. Paragraph 3 contains a list of all the 21 clauses that we'll be doing in detail one by one. And paragraph number 4 says that in case any of the answers is unfavorable or qualified with respect to any of the clauses, then the reasons are also to be given. Okay? So now, before the break, paragraph number 2, we all have done from the module itself. Now, with respect to paragraph number 1, that is applicability. Short title we have seen. So it is Companies Auditors Report Order 2020. Application we have yet to see, and commencement I have told you that it was deferred because of pandemic. So from financial year 2021, the CARO reporting additional requirement as per CARO 2020 was applicable, right? Now with respect to the application, so paragraph number 1 says that CARO 2020, the reporting with respect to CARO 2020 is applicable to every company, including foreign company. Now let us just try to understand as to why foreign company has been mentioned here separately. Because students, if you look at section 2 of the Companies Act, you will see that the definition of term company is given in section 2 clause 20, which says a company incorporated under this act, that is Companies Act 2013, or under any other previous company act, company law, right? And foreign company is defined in clause 42, section 2 clause 42 of the Companies Act, right? So that is why the term foreign company has been mentioned separately, because company as defined in the Companies Act will not include a foreign company, right? So CARO 2020 is applicable to every company, including foreign company, except, so there are certain exceptions. So that means that with respect to all these companies which have been given as an exception, the auditor is not required to give what? Additional reporting with respect to CARO 2020. Okay? Is it clear? Is it clear? So what are those exceptions? So first of all, the banking company, which are defined under section 5 of the Banking Regulation Act 1949. Banking Regulation Act 1949 may already there are so many reporting requirements. So here, banking company, with respect to the reporting of banking company, the auditor is not required to do the reporting under CARO 2020. Insurance company as defined under the Insurance Act 1938. So the second exception is what? Insurance company. Then section 8 company, section 8 of the Companies Act, your companies which are formed with the charitable objects. Okay? One person company as defined under clause 62, section 2 of the Companies Act, and small company as defined under clause 85, section 2 of the Companies Act 2013. right? So what are all exemptions? So first of all, CARO 2020 is applicable to every company, including foreign company, except banking company, insurance company, Section 8 companies, one-person companies, small companies, and the last, which is, in fact, this entire paragraph, as I've told you, is really very, very important from the point of view of your MCQ, true, false, case scenario, descriptive type, anything can come. Okay? So the last exception is with respect to private limited companies, which fulfills certain private limited companies, which fulfill certain conditions. Okay? So see, as I've told you before the break also, that whenever certain exemption is to be availed, that generally the rule is what, that all conditions need to be satisfied, right? And whenever we look at the applicability, whether a particular provision is applicable or not, then if any of the condition is satisfied, it becomes applicable. So applicability में और से connected होता है generally, right? And exemption के case में, when the exception is to be given, all conditions are to be satisfied, right? So with respect to private limited company, so the first condition is, which is not being a subsidiary or holding of a public company. So if you get a question that so and so private limited company is a company which is a subsidiary of a public company, though maybe this second point is not been satisfied, but yes, if it is what, subsidiary or holding of a public company, CARO becomes applicable. CARO becomes applicable, so I mean the auditor is now required to give the additional reporting with respect to CARO 2020. The 21 clauses as are applicable, right? So private limited company, and wherever I have written plus, this means and. Okay? So not being a subsidiary and holding of a public company, and where the paid up share capital and reserves is not more than 1 CR as on the balance sheet date, and the total borrowings from bank and financial institution is not exceeding 1 CR. And a very important thing here is that at any point of time during the financial year, we will discuss this, just wait, and connected by again and here, the total revenue as per Schedule 3 is not exceeding 10 CR during the financial year. So if a private limited company is to be exempted from, like the auditor is not, if the auditor is not to report with respect to the additional reporting as given in CARO 2020. So with respect to private limited company, all these conditions should be satisfied. So first of all, it should not be a subsidiary or holding of a public company. And the paid up share capital and reserve should not be exceeding 1 CR as on the balance sheet date, right? Total borrowings from banks and financial institutions should not exceed 1 CR at any point of time during the financial year. See students, it might be possible that, let's say, as at the balance sheet date, the total borrowings from banks and financial institution is what, 80 lakhs. Okay? But during the year, it was, let's say, 1.3 CR and 50 lakhs was repaid during the year, right? So as on the balance sheet date, तो अगर आप देखोगे तो this condition is not fulfilled, right? But it says what, at any point of time. So at any point of time, even if for a single day, this limit, that is total borrowing from bank and financial institution, it exceeds 1 CR, then it will be said that the company has fulfilled this condition and thus CARO becomes applicable. Okay? So very, very important, at any point of time during the financial year, and total revenue as defined in Schedule 3 is not exceeding 10 CR. Okay? So let us just have a look at this applicability paragraph, that is paragraph number 1 from the module. So it is mentioned that it shall apply to every company, including foreign company. Now, these are the keywords. Okay? And I've told you company kahan defined hai? Clause 20 mein of Section 2 of the Companies Act, and foreign company is defined in Clause 42 of Section 2 of the Companies Act. Except, so a very, very, in fact, mark it as very, very important. I told you like MCQs, true, false, anything and everything can come from this paragraph. Okay? A banking company as defined under Section 5 of the Banking Regulation Act 1949. Insurance company as defined under Insurance Act 1938. A company licensed to operate under Section 8, right? One person company as defined under Clause 62 of Section 2 of the Companies Act. Small companies as defined under Clause 85 of Section 2 of the Companies Act. And last but not the least, private limited company. So first condition is what? Not being a subsidiary or holding of a public company. First and foremost, see, you may get a case scenario that the company, there's a private limited company which is not satisfying all these criteria, but it is what? A subsidiary of a public company. So CARO becomes applicable. Okay? Having paid up share capital and reserves not more than 1 CR as on the balance sheet date. And so see, this is and. So here comma, it also implies what? And, which does not have a total borrowings exceeding 1 CR from any bank or financial institution at any point of time during the financial year, at any point of time. So you may get confused that this is a balance sheet item, borrowings, Hana, but this is not to be seen as on the balance sheet date as we are seeing for paid up share capital and reserves. Hana, I've told you that if at any point of time during the financial year, this limit is exceeded, or this limit of 1 CR is exceeded, CARO becomes applicable. And which have a total revenue as disclosed in Schedule 3 to the Companies Act, including the revenue from discontinuing operations exceeding 10 CR during the financial year as per the financial statements. Okay? So in order to, if we want that there need to be exception for the private limited company, all these conditions are to be satisfied. Okay? Is it clear? Is it clear? So this applicability part is really very, very important. And please, this example we will read here itself. And example number 2 is your homework. Quickly read this. Example number 1, Educating Child is a limited company registered under Section 8 of the Companies Act. So Section 8 is specific exemption which is given in paragraph 1 of CARO 2020. So in the given case, Educating Child is licensed to operate under Section 8 of the Companies Act. Therefore, CARO 2020 shall not be applicable to education child accordingly, right? And please read this question number 2 as a homework. In case there will be any doubt, we'll definitely discuss it in the next session. Okay? So we have done a very, very important paragraph of CARO 2020, which is what? Applicability. Quickly एक revision करते हैं. तो क्या पढ़ा हमने? It is applicable to every company. ठीक है? Including foreign company. ठीक है? Except, ये revision के बाद I'll take up your doubts. Except what? किसको applicable नहीं होगा? So it shall not be applicable to banking company. It shall not be applicable to insurance company. It will not be applicable to Section 8 company. Right? One person company, small company. Okay? Then it is not applicable to private limited company. So first and foremost, what should not be there? It should not be a subsidiary or holding of a public company. And secondly, 3 conditions should be satisfied. What are those? Paid up share capital plus reserves should not be more than 1 CR as at the balance sheet date. Then your total borrowings from banks and financial institutions, they should not exceed again 1 CR, but what is the point of time? At any point of time during the financial year. And the revenue as given in Schedule 3, total revenue, it should not be exceeding 10 CR during the financial year. Okay? So this is about what? This is a summary with respect to the applicability, and repeating it again, very, very important. Okay? Now I'll just have a look at your queries. Then we'll proceed further with paragraph number 3. I hope paragraph number 1, which is with respect to short title, commencement and application, and paragraph number 2, that is the auditor's report to contain matters specified in paragraph number 3 and 4, which we have already discussed when we were discussing CARO before the break. So I hope it is clear to all of you. Quickly send in your replies, then we'll proceed with paragraph number 3 and 4. See, students, whenever any student asks me that, ma'am, whether to learn the section, see, whatever is given in your module, your first endeavor should be to learn that. Okay? But I will always suggest you that in case you are not sure, in case at the point in the examination you are not sure about the section, or like don't mention incorrect section. Okay? So first and foremost, if you ask me, ma'am, should we learn? So try to learn if it is given in your module. But don't write incorrect sections or clauses. Now the next query will be, ma'am, should we learn the clauses when we'll be doing 21 clauses of CARO 2020? So my first reply will be what? Yes, you should learn. Okay? Because it is given in your module, and when you learn all the reporting clause wise, your confidence is going to increase. Okay? But writing the wrong clause in the exam is never recommended. Okay? So Swati is saying, ma'am, all clear. Others also please reply. Bhumika is saying clear. Others also, Dikshita, Kiran, Bhumika, Himanshu, Sayyed Yasir, Manisha, Darshan, Shubham, Manisha. Quickly reply, Varsha. Quickly send in your replies, then we'll proceed with. Chalo. So Shubham is saying ki when we summarize the topic that we have done, it becomes very easy to visualize. So chalo, that's good. That is what my endeavor is. है ना? So उसका बेनिफिट लेने के लिए आई ऑलवेज टेल यू दैट कंसंट्रेशन के साथ सुनना पड़ेगा, पढ़ना भी पड़ेगा. ठीक है? So हिमांशु, राजीव, दीक्षिता, Kiran, Hera, Manisha are saying, ma'am, it's clear. So now paragraph number 3, and the heading of paragraph number 3 is matters to be included in auditor's report. So I told you that we'll be referring to all these 21 clauses one by one in detail. Okay? So students, see, for better understanding, I have prepared a summary of all the 21 clauses. As such, when you go through CARO 2020, paragraph number 3, no heading is given to any clause. Okay? In fact, I'll show it to you in the module. So, see, clause number 1. So, there is no heading as such. Same way, clause number 2. But for simplicity, for better understanding, I've made a summary for all of you. So, there are in total 21 clauses, starting from the first clause, which is about property, plant and equipment and intangible assets. Second is with respect to reporting with respect to certain aspects of inventory. Third is where the investment guarantee or security loans are made by the company. Fourth clause is with respect to section 185 and 186 of the Companies Act. If you haven't done these sections, don't worry. I'll definitely discuss these sections so far as is required for understanding CARO 2020. Okay? Then if the company has accepted fixed deposits, public deposits, then reporting under clause 5. Clause 6 is with respect to the cost records. Then 7 is statutory dues. 8 is transaction not recorded in books of accounts and surrendered during the year. Now, tell me, kuch yaad aa raha hai chapter number 9 ka? Have we done this? Transactions not recorded in books of accounts. And students, I always tell you, please don't follow this policy that you are learning the chapters that we are doing and you are forgetting what we have already done in the earlier sessions. Keep on flipping the pages of your last, the chapters that were covered earlier. Otherwise, you will definitely forget. As I think, Kiran, I think you were saying that you have forgotten chapter number 9. So students, this should not happen. And how will that be possible? Just when you are moving ahead, when you are now you will be preparing the backup for definitions and you will be preparing the questions. Just give 10 minutes and flip on the pages of the last chapters that have been covered. You will never ever forget the discussions or your learning that you have done for the last chapters that have been covered. Okay? Okay? So Bhumika is saying yes, she remember. So Himanshu is also saying this is one of the disclosure requirement. And again, now for all those who have done chapter number 9 with me in detail, who have understood and who have learned the disclosure requirements, this CARO 2020 is going to be a cakewalk for all of you. Okay? And for all those who have not learned the disclosure requirements, which I have requested you a number of times when we were doing chapter number 9. So again, I'd like to request you that quickly complete those notes that we have done in chapter number 9. क्योंकि chapter number 9 में क्या है, again management को company को disclose करना है. CARO 2020 में क्या है, auditor को उसी पर report करना है with respect to maximum points. ठीक है. So 8th point is what, repayment of dues taken by the loan. So यहाँ पर हमने third में क्या देखा था, investments guarantees which the company has given, and here it is loans that the company has taken. 10th is with respect to the IPO, FPO, preferential allotment, private placement. 11th is with respect to fraud. Clause number 12 and clause number 16. So these are specific clauses. That is, the clause number 12 reporting is required with respect to the Nidhi companies. Section 406 of the Companies Act will be referring to. And reporting requirement under clause number 16 is with respect to NBFCs, non-banking financial companies. ठीक है. Clause number 13th is with respect to related party transaction. 14th is with respect to internal audit system. 15th is with respect to transactions with directors, that is non-cash transaction in terms of section 192. 16 we have seen. 17 is with respect to cash losses. 18th is with respect to resignation by statutory auditor. 19th is with respect to going concern. So as such, going concern word is not mentioned there, but for understanding, I mentioned it. 20th is with respect to CSR expenses as per section 135, and the 21st clause is with respect to the consolidated financial statement. Okay? So I'm telling you that these headings are as such not there. Right? So just for an understanding, just for in order to make the concept clear as to what is contained in paragraph number 3, I have made this summary of all the headings. Okay? So now let us start with point number 1, which is the additional reporting under CARO 2020 with respect to property, plant and equipment and intangible assets. And there are total 5 points with respect to which the auditor is required to give the reporting. Okay? So students, see, whatever auditor has done so far, and in fact, whatever we have discussed, audit procedures with respect to various assertions of property, plant and equipment, intangible asset that we have discussed in chapter number 9, the various audit procedures that we have discussed in chapter number 3, and whatever auditor has done so far that he is required to do. Whatever reporting we have done in section 143 subsection 3, right, 143 subsection 2, and the inquiry under section 143 subsection 1, that is also be required, right? But specifically under CARO 2020, these are the 5 points with respect to property, plant, equipment and intangible assets where the auditor has to give the reporting with respect to these 5 points. So how will auditor do that? Again, when he's performing the audit procedures, he'll perform audit procedures in order to confirm these 5 matters, and then he'll give his reporting. तो यहाँ पर स्टेट करना है, यहाँ पर इंक्वायर नहीं करना है कि सिर्फ इंक्वायर किया जैसे हमने 143 सबसेक्शन 1 में पढ़ा था, राइट? सो यहाँ पर क्या है, ऑडिटर को लिखना है whether it is applicable or not, है ना? In the next session, I'll share a practical audit report with you, and you will see how to mention it practically, how it is practically mentioned. Okay? So now the first point is that the auditor has to report as to whether proper records with respect to quantity and situation of PPE, property, plant and equipment, has been maintained. Okay? And whether proper records of full particulars of intangible assets have been maintained. ठीक है? तो ये काम तो हमने पहले भी किया था, हाँ किया था, but यहाँ पर there is an additional reporting requirement. तो यहाँ पर auditor is required to give an additional reporting कि हाँ ऐसा हुआ है, या अगर नहीं हुआ तो नहीं, ऐसा नहीं हुआ. And we have seen that paragraph number 4 में, if with respect to any of the points, the clauses that we are doing, if the answer is what, unfavorable or qualified, the reason is to be given. So what is the language? Let us have a look at the module and then we'll proceed further. So see, point number 1, see. So A, this is what the first clause. So point number A, whether the company is maintaining proper records showing the full particulars including quantitative details and situation of property, plant and equipment. So this is basically what existence assertion only, quantitative details and situation. तो ये तो चैप्टर नंबर 9 में भी हमने पढ़ा कि ऑडिटर को ये सब करना है, हाँ करना है ना, उसके ऊपर रिपोर्टिंग भी देना है. बट CARO 2020 में भी there is a mandatory additional reporting that is to be given. Whether the company is maintaining proper records showing full particulars of intangible assets. So if the company is showing, auditor will mention that the company is maintaining. If the company is not maintaining, auditor will mention what the company is not maintaining. Is it clear, Hana? So we will do one thing. First of all, I'll explain all the clauses in a simple language. Then we will have a look at the module as to how it is written. Okay? So this is first point, which is very simple. Okay? Second point. You all know, in fact, by so far it should be in your blood now that the physical verification of inventory and PP is the responsibility of the management. Okay? So with respect to PP, auditor will see whether the PP, property, plant and equipment, is physically verified by the management at reasonable intervals. And in case of any material discrepancy, whether the same has been properly dealt in with in the books of accounts. Material, now you all know because you all have done essay 320 in your chapter number 2. Okay? So whether the PPE has been physically verified by management at proper reasonable intervals, and whether in case of any material discrepancy, the same has been properly dealt in the books of accounts. Okay? Now clause number 3, point number 3 in clause 1, whether the title deeds of immovable property other than those taken on lease have been held in the name of the company, and if not, then a tabular 6 detail format is to be given. What is that? See, whether the title deeds of all immovable property other than properties where the company is the lessee and lease agreements are duly executed in favor of the lessee, disclosed in the financial statements, are held in the name of the company, and if not, provide the details thereof in the following format: description of the property, gross carrying value, held in the name of, if it is not held in the name of the company, then in whose name, whether the promoter, director of, or the relative of the employee. So what is the relationship of the company with that person, whether he's a promoter or a director. Period held, indicate where, range where appropriate, for how long the same has been held, and reasons for not being held in the name of the company, indicate the dispute. Now tell me, are you able to remember anything that we have done in chapter number 9? So now it is going to be very clear to you as to why I'm saying कि जिसने chapter number 9 अच्छे से किया उसको CARO 2020 बहुत easily समझ आने वाला है. Quickly बताओ ये कहाँ पढ़ा था? Quickly, बहुत सारे clauses cover करने, quickly बताओ. Quickly send in your replies. So I'm not going in detail now. Why? Because chapter number 9 में हमने बहुत time spend किया इन topics पर. These are basically what the additional reporting requirements with respect to the property, plant and equipment. पढ़ा था ना, तो वो ही सब है. ठीक है? Quickly send in your replies. कुछ याद आ रहा है या सब भूल गया? वैसे तो you should be able to recall as to where you have done this. Quickly send in your replies. Okay. So now this was point number C. Point number D. So again, see, wherever these are the disclosure requirements that we have done in chapter number 9. So आपको याद दिलाने के लिए I mentioned that at on the left hand side. So whether the company has revalued the PP intangible assets both, and whether the same is through registered valuer, ये भी पढ़ा था ना. And the change is to be specified if it is more than equal to 10% of change in aggregate net carrying value of each class of PP in intangible asset. Exactly the same. Chapter number 9 में क्या पढ़ा था कि मैनेजमेंट को, कंपनी को डिस्क्लोज करना है. अब CARO 2020 में क्या पढ़ रहे हो कि ऑडिटर को रिपोर्ट करना है. ठीक है? Same way, the last point with respect to clause 1 is whether any proceeding have been initiated or pending against the company for holding any benami property, and whether the same has been disclosed in the financial statement. देखो कितना easy लग रहा होगा ना जिसने chapter number 9 अच्छे से पढ़ा होगा. भूमिका सिंह मैम नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स में पढ़ा है, दीक्षिता सिंह मैम एडिशनल नोट्स में पढ़ा है, हिमांशु सिंह की राइट्स एंड एजर्शन में नहीं पढ़ा. हिमांशु हमने डिस्क्लोजर रिक्वायरमेंट्स में पढ़ा था. Rajiv Kumar is also saying that disclosure under PPE में पढ़ा है. ठीक है. So I hope अब जिसको चैप्टर नंबर 9 आता होगा, that student is finding it easy. ठीक है. तो property, plant and equipment, intangible assets में what are the 5 points with respect to which additional reporting is required under CARO 2020? First of all, whether proper records with respect to quantity and situation of PPE has been maintained by the company, and whether proper records with respect to full particulars of intangible assets have been maintained by the company. Second, whether the property, plant and equipment is physically verified by management at reasonable interval, and in case of any material discrepancy, whether the same has been properly dealt in the books of accounts. Whether the title deeds of the moved property other than those which are taken on lease are held in the name of the company, and if not, the disclosure, as we have discussed, is to be given in a tabular format. Whether the company has revalued the PPE, intangible assets, or both through a registered valuer, and the auditor is required to specify the change if it is more than equal to 10% change. It can be upwards or downwards, but if it is more than equal to 10% change in aggregate net carrying value of each class of PPE. And last but not the least is with respect to proceedings initiated and pending against the company for holding any Benami property under the Benami Transaction Prohibition Act 1988 and the rules made thereunder, and whether the same has been appropriately disclosed by the company in the financial statement. ठीक है. So कुछ clear हो रहा है. अभी हमने clause number 1 पे we have spent like 10 minutes हमने spend किया है. And why I'm telling this to you again and again, that management को वहाँ report करना है, यहाँ पर auditor को additional reporting देना है. Management को chapter number 9 में हमने पढ़ा ना, disclose करना है company को, और यहाँ पर auditor has to give an additional reporting because this now is going to repeat in number of clauses. तो वहाँ पर I am not going to repeat this point again and again. Further, you don't get confused कि मैम ये सब तो हम पहले भी कर रहे थे as audit procedures, तो क्या वहाँ पर नहीं करना? Because this is one of the common queries that student do ask me. So that the auditor has to perform, है ना? But these are the specific reporting requirements that is to be given under CARO 2020. ठीक है? Quickly tell me, is clause number 1 clear? अभी हमने सिर्फ clause number 1 किया है. आगे वाले clauses में we will discuss them quickly. Quickly tell me, clause number 1 clear है? क्या पढ़ रहे हैं? क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं? Is it clear? Quickly send in your replies. So we have done clause number 1 relating to PPE and intangible assets. Clause number 2 is with respect to inventory, and you will see that almost the same discussion will be there as we have done for PPE and intangible assets. So Himanshu, Bhumika, Deepak Singh, ma'am is clear. Others also please reply. So with respect to inventory, तो जो आपने अभी तक audit procedures किए वो करने ही है. 501 में कुछ बोला गया है वो करना है. AS2 का application देखना है वो करना है. But वो CARO 2020 में all these will not come, because what is the requirement of CARO 2020? It basically says that the auditor has to report as to whether the physical verification of the inventory by the management at reasonable intervals has been done or not, and whether the management coverage and the procedure is appropriate or not. ठीक है? Further, in case of any discrepancy, if there is any discrepancy which is more than equal to 10% in aggregate for each class of inventory, if yes, then whether the same has been properly dealt in the books of accounts. Same है ना? ठीक है? Then during, this is again one of the notes that we have done in chapter number 9. So during any point of time in the year, has the company been sanctioned a working capital limit on the security of current assets? And if yes, the company must have filed the quarterly returns with the banks or financial institution, whether such quarterly returns are in agreement with books of accounts, and if not, give the details. So the only difference is that in chapter number 9, we have done this, that the company is required to give a disclosure if any of the working capital limit has been availed against the security of assets. So this limit of 5 CR is not mentioned there. So under CARO 2020, reporting is required if the working capital limit that has been sanctioned from bank or financial institution is what? More than 5 CR. Okay? 5 CR in aggregate, then it is to be mentioned. Okay? And further, the first point with respect to inventory is what? Whether physical verification by management has been done at reasonable intervals, and whether the management coverage and procedure is appropriate. And in case of any discrepancies which are more than equal to 10% in aggregate for each class of inventory notice, then whether the same has been properly dealt in the books of accounts. So see students, when we were doing PPE ना, यहाँ पर what was the term used? That कोई material discrepancy तो नहीं है. यहाँ पर वो more than equal to 10% का clause नहीं आया. PPE में वो clause कहाँ आया था? जहाँ पर we were doing what? Revaluation in the fourth point. ठीक है? So don't get confused. यहाँ पर the term used has been what? Material discrepancy. And in inventory के case में that material discrepancy has been defined as what? More than equal to 10% in aggregate for each class of inventory, whether that same has been noticed. ठीक है? Is it clear with respect to the reporting requirement on inventory? तो अभी तक देखो हमने क्या पढ़ा. See students, when we are doing CARO 2020 ना, so first of all तो आपका आज का homework हो गया जो सर ने बोला था कि do learn two clauses. So your two clauses, that is PPE and intangible assets and inventory ka, you are supposed to learn. And before on the Thursday session, I want all of you to reply like, yes ma'am, we have done. And in fact sir will be asking you, so you need to reply. Okay? So when we will be doing these clauses, I'll do one thing, I'll keep on revising the clauses which we have covered, Hana, so that this is by that you will be able to learn also. Some part of learning will be done in the session itself. So abhi tak we have done the reporting requirement with respect to PPE and intangible assets and inventory. In PPE, we have seen that 5 points per reporting is required. Inventory per 2 points per reporting is required. Inventory per what is the reporting? That first point is with respect to proper records of both your PPE and intangible assets. Second is with respect to physical verification, material discrepancy properly dealt with. Third is with respect to title deeds of the immovable property not held in the name of the company. Fourth is with respect to revaluation, to registered value hai ya nahi. And if the change is more than equal to 10% change in aggregate net carrying value of each class of PP. And the last is with respect to what? Proceedings under the Benami property. Benami, just a minute. Benami Transaction Prohibition Act 1988. Inventory में first point relates to what? Physical verification, management coverage procedure appropriate है नहीं, and the discrepancy part also, and then whether any working capital limit. अब ये जो भी discussion है ना, working capital limit and quarterly returns, we have had a good detailed discussion in chapter number 9, so that is why I'm not repeating it here. So अगर किसी को doubt है, वैसे तो I'm not getting any queries with respect to these points, but in case you have any doubt, so please watch the sessions of chapter number 9. वहाँ पर we have had a detailed discussion with respect to all these things. ठीक है? So we have covered what? 2 points. First relating to PPE and intangible assets, and the second is relating to what? Inventory. Okay. Now the third point, which is again very, very important, is with respect to, see, if you look at this clause now from, let us just have a look at this clause from the module. Third, see, whether during the year the company has made investments in or provided any guarantee, security, granted any loans or advances in the nature of loans, secured or unsecured, to companies, to firms, LLPs, any other party. So this is such a wide point. It covers each and everything. To any other party, be it an investment, be it guarantees, security, any loans or advances in the nature of the loan, secured or unsecured, to any company, to firm, LLP or any other party. है ना? तो कंपनी ने कोई भी पैसा कभी भी दिया है ना, तो उसके ऊपर there is a reporting, and what, how many points are there? 6 points. ठीक है? So what are those points? Let us just have a discussion. So whether the company has made any investment, guarantee, security, loan, advance in the nature of loan, secured or unsecured, to company, firm, LLP or any other party, if yes, then a reporting with respect to 6 points. What are those 6 points? Let us just quickly discuss. ठीक है? So see, first point says that if the company has given any any of these which is mentioned above to subsidiary, joint venture or associate. So I mentioned here group company. So the term used is what? So you can also mention what? Subsidiary, joint venture and associate. Then what is the aggregate amount which is given during the year, and what is the balance outstanding as at the end of the year. Okay. And if the company has given any of the guarantee, advances, anything which is referred above to any other company that is other than subsidiary, joint venture, associate, again the aggregate amount during the year and the balance outstanding. तो देखो अब यहाँ पर ऑडिटर को स्पेसिफिकली ऑडिट प्रोसीजर करना पड़ेगा ना, वेयर बाय द ऑडिटर विल बी आस्किंग द मैनेजमेंट दैट प्लीज गिव मी अ schedule as to what is the aggregate amount which the company has given as a loan, guarantee, advances in the nature of loan, or secured, unsecured, anything to joint venture, subsidiary, joint venture or associate. Same way with respect to other than subsidiary, joint venture and associate. वो schedule लेके the auditor is now going to mention yes. So he'll mention that this is the aggregate amount and this is the balance outstanding. Okay. Now, when any loan has been given, तो हम क्या देखते हैं कि whether the terms and conditions are not prejudicial to the company's interest. So this is what exactly is the second point. So whether the terms and conditions are not prejudicial to the company's interest. Prejudicial is what? Harmful, है ना? कि ऐसा तो नहीं है that loan free है. Sorry, interest free loan has been given, or ऐसा तो नहीं है that some very low rates of interest are there. So it should not be harmful or prejudicial to the company's interest. Okay. Now just as sir always say, just try to make linkages. देखो यहाँ पर आपने क्या देखा कि लोन तो नहीं दिया किसको, ग्रुप कंपनी को या अदर्स को. सो लोन आपका एक मेजर आ गया. अब यहाँ से आपका क्या लिंकेज बनता है कि इट शुड नॉट बी प्रिजुडिशियल, है ना, टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस. तो टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन से अब आपका क्या बनता है, वेदर द रीपेमेंट ऑफ प्रिंसिपल एंड इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट, है ना, वेदर दीज आर व्हाट स्टिपुलेटेड. स्टिपुलेटेड का क्या मतलब होता है, वेदर दीज आर स्पेसिफाइड, है ना, and whether the receipts and repayments are what? Regular. ठीक है. So stipulated is what? Your specified. Without specifying तो नहीं दे दिया, फिर तो देखो रिलेटेड पार्टी को आपने मे बी जस्ट द फंड्स हैव बीन पार्क्ड, है ना. सो शेड्यूल ऑफ रीपेमेंट. सो व्हाट इज द लिंकेज की लोन दिया है तो टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस माइंड में आता है. टर्म्स से क्या माइंड में आता है, प्रिंसिपल एंड रीपेमेंट, वेदर इट इज रेगुलर. अब यहीं से एक और क्या लिंकेज आती है कि अगर रेगुलर नहीं है, सो इफ द अमाउंट इज ओवरड्यू फॉर मोर देन 90 days, सो वेदर रीजनेबल स्टेप्स फॉर रिकवरी हैज बीन टेकन, है ना. सो इफ द अमाउंट इज ओवरड्यू फॉर मोर देन 90 days. देखो अगर फ्रॉडुलेंट इंटेंशंस के साथ दिया होगा, इफ विद एनी रॉन्ग इंटेंशंस, तो आपने स्टेप्स लेने ही नहीं है. कंपनी ने पैसा पार्क कर दिया वहां से पैसा नहीं आ रहा है, कंपनी विल नॉट टेक एनी स्टेप. बट जेन्युइनली इफ इट हैज बीन गिवन, है ना, एंड द अमाउंट इज ओवरड्यू फॉर मोर देन 90 days, so whether the reasonable steps, like it might be possible the company has filed any FIR, or let's say some dispute is there, so the litigation paper, so whether the reasonable steps for recovery has been taken or not. ठीक है. तो अब ये लिंकेज वाला कॉन्सेप्ट समझ आ रहा है. लोन लिया, फिर टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस माइंड में आते हैं, फिर प्रिंसिपल और इंटरेस्ट का माइंड में आता है, फिर रेगुलर है या नहीं. तो रेगुलर से क्या माइंड में आता है, ओवरड्यू है मोर देन 90 days, तो रीजनेबल स्टेप्स लिए या नहीं. ठीक है. सो दिस इज द वे यू इम्प्लीमेंट. सर क्या बोलते हैं, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पर भी ध्यान दो, है ना. सो दिस इज द वे ऑफ इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. ठीक है. Now, point number 5 and 6. See, point number 5 says that if any of the loan has fallen due during the year, that is, suppose 1 CR का कोई loan था, and now let's say 80 lakhs have been received and 20 lakhs are still pending. ठीक है. But during the year, this installment was due, right? Now, auditor became aware that this loan has been renewed or extended, or any fresh loan has been given to settle these liabilities to that party. ठीक है. So it might be possible ना कि आपका 5 years का लोन था, है ना, 80 lakhs आ चुके हैं, अभी 20 lakhs नहीं मिले. ठीक है. So during the year, what the company has done, company has considered this 20 lakhs as a separate new loan, let's say for another 20 years. So installment amount कम कर दिया, let's say interest amount कम कर दिया, या ऐसा कुछ भी हुआ है. Granted to settle the existing loans to the same party. If yes, अगर ऐसा हुआ है, what is the aggregate amount of the renewed, extended or fresh loan and what is wherever I mentioned plus, it is what and the percentage of aggregate amount which has the percentage of total loan that has been given during the year. Okay, so see, it might be possible and the company has given genuinely किसी को loan दिया था and the other party is not able to repay it, है ना. Major chunk has come last, let's say as I've given you example 20 lakhs के लिए the payment is not coming, the company may renew it, renew the terms, है ना, extend कर दे time period, है ना, या let's installments amount कम कर दिया, या consider it as a new loan, fresh loan has been given to the same party to settle the existing loan, है ना. Keep this example in mind. तो सारी लाइन समझ आएगी. Renew, extended, fresh loan, granted to settle existing loan to the same party. If yes, तो क्या aggregate amount था जो आपने renew किया, extend किया, fresh loan, that is 20 lakhs. And now what is the percentage of this loan to the total loan that has been given during the year? ठीक है. So let us first read this point from the module. E point. See, whether any loan or advance in the nature of loan granted which has fallen due during the year, the 20 lakhs was payable during the year, has been renewed, extended, or fresh loan has been granted to settle the overdues of existing loan given to the same parties. If so, agar aisa hai, specify the aggregate amount of such dues renewed, extended, settled by fresh loans and the percentage of the aggregate to the total loans and advances in the nature of loan granted during the year. And this is not applicable in case of the company whose principal business is to give loan, है ना, जिसका principal business is to give loan. And now you will say मैं banking company पे तो apply नहीं करता, but NBFC पर तो apply करता है. So it is, this point is not applicable. So when I was saying कि banking company पे apply नहीं करता, तो CARO 2020 banking company पे apply नहीं करता, but NBFCs पर तो apply करता है ना. So where the principal business is to give loan, वहाँ पर this reporting is not required. ठीक है. So see, I mentioned it here also. Okay? And the last point is what? If any loans and advances in the nature of loan which is repayable on demand. ये भी हमने कुछ पढ़ा हुआ है, कुछ जाओ chapter number 9 में, है ना, कहाँ पढ़ा था ये point? That without, which is repayable on demand without specifying the term. Remember? So the aggregate amount, what is the percentage of such to the total loan? Further aggregate amount of loan to the promoters and the related party. अब ये promoters and related party पढ़ के तो याद आ गया होगा ना, loans and advances given to KMP, related party, promoters, याद है, there was an additional reporting requirement. So exactly the same as was coming here, with certain difference. What is the difference? That it is saying that if any loan or advance in the nature of loan has been given, which is repayable on demand. है ना, repayable on demand means without specifying as to when that loan is repayable, either when the company will demand it or when the other party wants to pay, but specify nahi kiya hua term, without specifying the term. If yes, what is the aggregate amount and the percentage of such loan to the total loans, and out of that aggregate amount of loans which has been given to promoters or the related party. Okay? So this was with respect to your clause number 3, that is investment guarantee, security and loans, whereby we have seen that a reporting is required with respect to 6 points. Okay? So is it clear? Yes. Manisha is saying, ma'am, can we take the screenshot? You can take the screenshot. Okay? So abhi a number of clauses are left. So just a minute. For all those who want to take the screenshot, so abhi I'll not proceed with further clauses, though I wanted to complete this CARO 2020, but abhi since it is a quite heavy topic, so I'll do one thing. I'll just go through your queries and resolve those queries. And with respect to the 4th clause, we'll start in the next session. And students, as I've told you that before coming for the next session, first of all, तो जो सर ने आपको homework दिया वो तो करके ही आना है आपको. Prepare 3 questions, है ना. So what can be those 3 questions? First of all, तो पहला question can be what? Paragraph number 1 of CARO, applicability. ठीक है. Then you can do what? Section 143 subsection 3 का reporting and inquiring. अच्छा, 143 subsection 3 का reporting मत prepare करो, 143 subsection 1 का inquire वाले matters करो. ठीक है. And then 141 subsection 3 clause G, 3 questions. ठीक है. Section 141 subsection 3 clause G, Section 143 subsection 1 में inquire of matters and applicability of CARO 2020 paragraph number 1. So these 3 questions you have to prepare. जिसके ये तीनों भी हो जाए, then section 139 में there are we have done a subsection 1, 5, 6, 7. Prepare those, है ना? So prepare what? Backup, right? Now what I was telling you, you are supposed to read this, and in the module today we have covered till here. That is till page number 10.45. You definitely have to go through the module till here. Only then this chapter is going to be clear to you. Okay? Apart from this, before coming for the next session, I would have uploaded all the questions, all the case scenarios and everything. And I'm telling you that because of paucity of time, it won't be possible for me to cover all the questions. So I'll be taking up only the query parts. Okay? So go through those questions, and whatever will be your query, we will definitely discuss, because in the next session, we have to cover CARO 2020. Apart from that, joint audit, using the work of another auditor. So these two are essays, then section 147 and 148. Okay? So read this, and in fact do one more thing. Read essay 299, which is given on page number, let me just show it to you, 10.51 as a homework. Next session we are going to discuss, but as I'm telling you that since I want to touch upon each and every topic that is given in your module, so please just read it as a homework. Don't do it as a homework, just go through it as a homework. Okay? So for all those who wanted to take the screenshot can do that. So this is paragraph number 2 and 3. So I'll just meanwhile have a look at the queries that you are sending it to me. So quickly students, send in your queries जो भी हैं अभी तक जो भी हमने पढ़ा. Because many of you are saying, ma'am, heavy हो गया topic, तो आगे मत continue करो. ठीक है, I'll not continue, but like I'll continue in the next session. So I hope you all have taken the screenshots. So this is clause number 1 and 2. So Manisha, this is for you. If you want to take the screenshot, you can do that. And this is clause number 3. Okay, is it clear? So Shubham is saying, ma'am, no queries, all clear. Darshan is saying, clear, ma'am. Others also please reply. So before coming for the next session, sir ka homework karke aana hai, mera homework karke aana. Okay? So if you will implement the tips that sir has followed, this will help you in preparing this chapter number 10. Okay? And start preparing your backup for the definitions, for the questions. Do go through the questions that I'll upload for chapter number 10. Read joint audit as a homework. हाँ बहुत सारा homework है. Many of you are saying तो अब तो करना पड़ेगा homework. Hard work is what is the need of the hour. Okay. So thank you for the extra 8 minutes that you all have given to me, students. Thanks a lot and take care. Good night. And before coming for the next session, again I'll be repeating it. Please do all the homework that we have discussed just now. Okay? So thank you and good night.